Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup today, live out of Studio W here. And you just heard two songs right there, starting that set out with the Magnificent Four, The Closer You Are, and then ending it with Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat, So Young, off that first album, Meet the Beat. And today in studio, we have Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld here. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you, Matt, for having us.
Yeah, great to have you here. So let's get things started now that we are here and we're all together. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. And so, yeah, two songs right there. One that is one that you said you like, and then one off your first album. So when did you start getting into music, or at what point did you...
Well, let's see. I was around 8 years old when I used to listen to records that belonged to my sisters and brothers. They left... there was an old record player and a couple of comps, like doo-wop comps or oldie comps, like K-Tel comps, that had oldies on it. And that's when I started, like, just singing in my room. And then they didn't have any covers or anything, but they were cool to listen to. You know, like My Boyfriend's Back, Dion was on there, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. But it's always been around me, the music, whether it's my sisters or the radio or those records. And I think like my first paying gig was, and I've always been in choir, so, you know, all through middle school and high school. I've always enjoyed it. I was kind of quiet growing up. And my mom, you know, she put me in choir at a young age, you know, kind of maybe to get me out of my shell.
Yeah.
And it did. It most certainly did. And I think it was like my first professional, like when you get paid. I was a sophomore in high school. The dance teacher hired me to sing a song for the dance team.
Okay.
But, I mean, after that, I have always tried to be involved in everything and anything I could. And then just out of high school, I got involved with the Doo-Wop Society of Southern California. And also friends in backyards, we would perform. And, you know, they had already had instruments and bands. And they were like, hey, we want to come up and do a few songs. And that's how kind of it started.
What sort of songs did you start singing? Do you remember back then? Or what kind of music was it? Or
songs like Angel Baby.
Okay.
Frankie Lyman, Why Do Fools Fall in Love. Kind of doo-wop-y, oldie stuff.
Okay. And what was it that was special to you about that doo-wop music, and whether it was just growing up around it, or was there something unique about that caught your ear more than some of the other styles of music at the time?
Well, I am a lover of music. I love everything. I love all kinds of stuff. I guess the only thing I can't really get into is like funk or soul. Sorry people, I know some of you are out there who are fans of that. I can't really do soul or funk. I just can't do it. But no, I love a lot of things. I love doo-wop. That's like my favorite. I love any kind of old rock and roll, R&B, even some gospel. I actually like other bands. I love punk rock too.
I think maybe just to jump in there on what Vic's saying is that I think one of the reasons why, at least it was something I've picked up on over the last 8 or 10 years of playing with her, is that she loves harmony.
Right.
She loves harmony with voices, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that she really, really got attracted to doo-wop. That's just my 2 cents, but that's a common thread through all of the.
Yeah, when you hear a lot of those tracks off the albums, and even on the Vicky and the Vengeance stuff, you hear those harmonies that kind of drive through the songs.
That's the one element that kind of weaves through.
That's one of them.
The fabric of all the things that she likes. Like if she likes.
But I love a catchy tune or melodic, some kind of
hook.
melodic. But of course, I like the harmonies too.
4 or 5 voices singing together is kind of like a. As she's shown me over the years, is kind of like a very like pure thing,
Right,
and there's nothing really like it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing when you have doo-wop or a cappella. When you strip the guitars and the music away from it, you hear the purity of the song. It's kind of puts you in a different realm than hearing it with the full band, where things can be kind of hidden or flaws can be hidden. When you're just hearing the vocals, there's nothing to hide that.
Yeah, that's one thing that she turned me on to was a cappella music, and that's definitely. A big thing, as far as what she likes and everything. It's its own genre of music. I mean, it really is. I mean, everybody talks about doo-wop and stuff, but the acapella music, with, like she said, whether it's gospel or whatever, that really is. It's like a genre inside of a genre.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like. I don't know if that's like the purest form of it, because some people like jazz and they really distill it down.
And that's another thing too. I like Ella Fitzgerald. I just like the clarity and the purest of it. Like one thing that I'm kind of known for is like there's a lot of bands out there like, God, that's really clean. You like it clean. I like it clean and strong and tough. I can go out there and I can bore a crowd, or I can give them me,
right?
That is me, though. I think what I do, it's strong, it's clean. A lot of people are just like, you're a purist. You want it a certain way. Well, of course I do, but with the big beat, what I'd like to do more of is, incorporate maybe some more jazzy stuff. But I love eerie, jazzy, tough rock and rolly stuff. I know that sounds, There's a lot of bands. I mean, we won't mention any names, but there's a lot of bands out there, that they kind of sound in the same family, kind of doing the same thing. I wish I could do a rockabilly song. It's just not my thing. I love rockabilly music, and I applaud all the people who, what I love? I love the girls who play guitar in the bands that they sing in. I love that. I wish I could play. I've tried to play so much, but with me and my dishpan hands, it just doesn't work out. So I just sing. But back to the music. Like, how did I start? I went to a show to see a group perform, a doo-wop group, one night, and the founding members, which was Phyllis Bardone, Dennis Bardone, Marvin Kaminsky, and who else was it? Anyways, they were some of the founding members. John Stahlberg, that's right, Dr. John Stahlberg. Back in, I guess, like 88, we went to some restaurant to watch a band perform, and I could hear them sitting across from me. Boy, was I lucky then to be in an earshot of, they were talking about starting this thing called the Doo-Wop Society of Southern California, and man, my ears were up. I was like, woo! My radar was like, oh my God. And they were like, you should start a group, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. And I did. And I think it was Steve Probst who named my girl band. It was a doo-wop girl group, and we were called the Honey Drips.
Was that the first actual band you performed?
That was the first actual band, yes. And then friends of mine from an old neighborhood in Santa Ana where I grew up, they kind of were like, well, we're singing here in the backyard, let's start a band, so we did. And it was called The Big Beat. And that was about the time I met my husband, Vin. And he also was in The Big Beat.
When you sang with the Honey Drips, was that always a cappella, or was there like you'd perform at the shows and they had a backing group?
Most of the time, like maybe 80% of the time, most of the time it was a cappella. Once in a while there was a house band and we'd sing a song or two with the house band, but for the most it was a cappella. So that was and our first show was in '89.
Okay.
At the very first doo-wop show.
Okay. And about how long were you in that band for? How long did that?
Couple years.
Okay.
And then I left that band only to start another band like immediately after called Memory Lane.
Okay. Another all-girl group?
Another all-girl group.
And then you remember what sort of covers you were doing at that time?
Oh, yeah. I remember it was Please Come Home by the Dolls.
Okay.
The Boy Who Can't Understand. Is that right? Is that the name?
I think the title is actually Boys Who Don't Understand.
Boys Who Don't Understand by the Continents.
Yeah, it's the same sentiment.
One thing I was always known for at the Doo-Wop Society was I used to do, a little bit now, but not so much. But one thing I was known for, which I really loved it because some of the big guns who were flown in from back east, they were like, how do you know that song? But I used to do a lot of oddball songs that were girl group doo-wop. And they were like, how do you know that song? And a lot of different people from the Doo-Wop Society used to be like, here's a cassette.
Okay,
you should check these songs out. And I never heard of them. And I'm like, oh my God,
Once
I love this.
Heard her voice, so they would start suggesting songs for her.
Right. I've heard
and
that
just picking their brain, all the doo-woppers who are from back east and were from here. And they still are around at record swap meets. I just thank God that I was involved in that. I got to meet everyone.
It's a pretty deep well.
Like the very first show was with Vernon Green and the Medallions. That was in '89.
Just a year into it.
The next show was at the Club Lingerie with Harvey Fuqua, the Safaris, and Tony Night Owl. It was always just great fun. I got to meet Jimmy Merchant from the Teenagers. I got to meet Vito Balsamo.
The Five Discs,
the Penguins, the Harp Tones, everybody. God, it was just
that's a special time to be around all that.
When I first, before I even went to Viva Las Vegas, I used to be like, why don't they have any doo-woppers? And then finally they had them, and I was like, okay, I'm going now.
And like Vicky always says too, like in those days, they were still those artists were still real, real good and real vital. Not like they're not now, but these guys were still in their probably mid 50s or something.
Sadly, so many of them have passed now, and a lot of them are starting to have health issues. Gone. So you were able to be there when
some of the people who started the Doo-Wop Society after they disbanded, I think it was 2003 that the last show was, and I was really sad. And I would love, if anybody out there, I would love to restart the Doo-Wop Society of Southern California.
Let's make that a petition and get that done.
Believe me, I would love to. Yeah. And we used to do those shows, and then I see the PBS shows now.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this we did them first.
It's an extension of that.
Yeah, and it was an extension of that, and thank God still for that. I absolutely love those too. But just getting to be in the mix during rehearsals and hang out with the big guns, it really was an honor, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. Since then, there's never been anything like that. In 1990, I met a person at one of those shows who used to come to those shows, and I used to stand in the hallways at these other shows they used to have. They were called the Classic New York Doo-Wop shows.
Okay.
Over at the Universal Amphitheater, and I used to sing in the foyer. I was like, oh, God, I'm going to get on one of these shows. I got to get on one of these shows. And I believe that the gentleman's name was Tony DeLauro, who was doing the shows, the MC. And he was like, yeah, kid, just keep trying. You'll get there. And I'm just like, man, I can't even get a break here, So one day there was a gentleman, his name was Bruce. I can't remember his last name, and I'm so ashamed of myself because I don't remember the name. But he was like, I think I can try and get you in here. I think I know somebody. And, so I did, and I got on the show, and I still have the poster in my room. I cherish it to this day. It was the Flamingos, the Spaniels, the Dixie Cups, the Monte Carlos Band, and
Capris.
The Capris. And I did a tribute to Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, and it was all over K-Earth 101. And I was like, oh my God. It was such a dream come true. Besides the other Doo-Wop Society shows, these were shows that they brought from back east. And when I finally performed, you know, I got there like 6 hours before the show, and I'm looking at this, you know, 6,000 capacity. You know, it was my first big thing, you know, in 91.
Intimidating, right?
Yeah, it was kind of scary, but I actually felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. So I remember when I actually came out, I was with the Storytellers, by the way. We did the show, the tribute to Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. And right before I opened the show, Tony DeLauro actually came out on the stage and told the audience my story about how I used to sing in the halls. And I don't know if anybody ever got a video or anything of that, but it really was something.
I'm sure it's floating around somewhere. Hopefully someone has that around. Wow, man. Those are some special memories right there, and some great times. And it's kind of great building blocks to be around all that at a certain time when you started singing and have those mentors and those individuals there around you. So you did Memory Lane was the second group. And about how long did you do that?
For a couple of years also. That was also. And I think one of the girls was moving away, and we just kind of went our own way. But one of the husbands of the girls used to play with us at shows as the bass player. And for some reason, you know, that's when we started doing the backyard thing with the big beat. And then we just started the big beat. And then when I started the big beat, I kind of just walked away from the others. Okay. But even before and during the big beat, in the beginning, the very beginning, I was also in another group called Kool-Aid. The reason it was called Kool-Aid was because there was all different kinds of us, different ages, and it was a strange name, Kulayd.
Oh, okay.
And it was me.
It was the 80s.
It was me with 3 and sometimes 4 guys singing, and it was really fantastic. They were some really fantastic singers. So
the first time I think I heard the big beat, I remember they were starting that because Vicky's husband Vinny and I used to share a group called Los Infernos. We were in a band together, and I remember it was Easter of 2001. Okay. And Vinny had told us, like, hey, don't make any plans for Easter weekend because I'm gonna go with Vicky to Viva Las Vegas. And I think that was probably one of the really early. That was probably, I think, within the first.
It was on the roof at the Gold Coast.
First 3 or 4 years, and that was in 2001. So I think that they were, she was doing that by that time.
Okay, that's when you kind of
segued into that. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get back to some other questions, why don't we hear a few more rhythm and blues doo-wop songs that have influenced you as an artist?
Oh, yeah.
And again, everybody,
what do we got
let's
coming
see
up?
what we got in the queue right now. Let's see. One of the ones you sent me. Let's play a little Butchie Sanders rock and roll Indian dance.
All right.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
But an error occurred, so let's
pick another one. They're all good.
Let's see. I think we can get this going. There we go.
All right.
There it is.
Rock and roll Indian dance, rock and roll Indian dance, rock and roll Indian dance. Well, my name is Big Chief, rhythm and blues. My tribe got plenty, rhythm and shoes. No longer need medicine man to chase away blues. it now, 'cause we no longer square.
Since we can do, since we can do,
Rock and roll Indian dance, rock and roll Indian dance, rock and roll Indian dance.
stormy weather, stormy weather, stormy weather, stormy weather, stormy weather. Don't know why. No sun up in the sky. Stormy weather. Since my girl and I are together, it keeps on raining all the time. Life is bad, the misery everywhere, stormy weather. I gotta get myself together. It keeps on raining all the time. Since you've gone away, the blues are walking and met me. If you don't come back to stay, I'm afraid a rocking chair will get me. All I do is pray, Lord above will let me walk up, walk in the sun once more. I can't go on, everything's all gone, stormy weather. I gotta get myself together. It keeps on raining all the sunny weather, sunny weather, sunny weather, sunny weather, sunny
Oh yeah, forecast right there. Stormy weather, and right before that, Little Butchie Saunders, Rock and Roll Indian Dance. Yeah, two great tunes right there, picked out by Vicky Tafoya. Oh, I sure do like those. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup, here live out of Studio W today and every Thursday from 10 a.m. till noon. And if you're interested in hearing some of the backlogged episodes, search Mad Matt's Radio Roundup on YouTube. There's a few on there, and I'll be uploading the last few weeks and today's, hopefully in the next few days. So yeah, again, in studio, we have Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld here from Vicky
Hi,
Tafoya and the
everybody.
Big Beat and Vicky and the Vengeance. Thanks so much for coming in, and we are discussing your story and how you got into music. And we left off with around the year you were forming the Big Beat, and then so what happened in the gap between your last a cappella group and then starting the Big Beat? What made you transition into wanting to start a full band?
Well, we used to do shows with the Memory Lane and even the Honey Drips, and the Big Beat guys who would be in the Big Beat, they started needing background players for us because most of the house band was for the bigger names, and they used to play. I hate saying behind me, but like backup band,
Right.
And I always say alongside me. I never like to say
sounds-
behind me, but you know what I mean. They used to play for me, and then just one day we were just like, besides the doo-wop shows, we would be in the backyard doing like little Christmas shows or just hangout shows. And one day we were just like, let's just do this, stop messing around, And I didn't think we were messing around with the girls, but I mean, as my own band, So we came up with the name Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat. We got that name from Alan Freed.
Yeah.
The shows that he used to do, the Big Beat shows, which is one of the things I love most about our name. That's the story that I love.
History
the most.
behind it.
Yes. And I wish it was close to even a little bit to some of those shows. But we used to do mostly just girl stuff with the girl groups.
What were some of those influences, or some of your key influences from that genre?
Well, I absolutely love kiddie doo-wop groups, like all the kids, like the schoolboys, like Little Butchie Sanders, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, all the young kids. I mean, just like the song that you'll play later, the Richard Lanham, all the kids, like Carol Blades, Pearl McKinnon from the Kodaks. All that kiddie stuff is just my life. I love that stuff. Oh man, I love to collect it, and I'm always looking for, and I always do find somebody else who has something that I've never heard of, which is like crazy talk. There's so much still that I don't know, and I'm always looking for something different that I haven't heard, and it always happens.
It's a very
like every month something will pop up, and we're like, oh my god, But I mean that you were asking about the influences for the girl group. We did mostly girl stuff.
Okay.
Like the Orlons. The very first song we ever sang was "Heart, Darling Angel" by the Orlons. Oh god, that's so beautiful.
Okay, yeah.
And like I said, it was mostly just girl doo-woppy stuff. And then, like with the big beat, I thought, you know what? Let's take it somewhere else. Let's do a little bit more R&B stuff, And but still, let's incorporate some of the doo-wop songs. And then we did. And that, like I said, that first show was at the 2001 on the roof at the Gold Coast for Viva Las Vegas, and that was good times. And then after,
you guys played as Big Beat before that, or is that?
I think so.
That wasn't your first show with that name.
No, it wasn't. No. I think we did play.
But I think you were still kind of trying to get some of the main key players together.
Sure. But that was probably one of the bigger shows.
Yeah.
But it was fun on the roof. I missed the Gold Coast.
Yeah, those were some good times.
I mean, all the Viva shows, they're pretty good. They're all
there too at that hotel.
Lots of fun.
I was there at those are some of the special memories of being younger too, and being in a more part. You know how
I'm always trying to make
newer.
it better. Make the sound better. If I had my way, believe me, all you saxophone players out there, all you piano players,
she'd fire us all if she had her way.
She would not fire you. No. Believe me, if I could have my way, I'd have like 4 saxophone players, maybe 2 drummers.
You want the wall of sound? Is that what you're doing?
She wants Little Richard's band there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I think Johnny Knight's got you beat to trying to track them.
Yeah, 2 drummers, and he had, 2...
A piano player.
Yeah,
oh, my God. That would be such a dream. But so many, I won't say any names, but like a lot of big guns have always told me, your band plays too hard. Why they just play too tough and too loud and can't hear you. I think that's one of our things though that we get most complimented on, by the not so big guns. And people are like, there's nothing like you. And I don't know that that's true, but thank you. But
I think with that style of music, like singers like to kind of float over the top of the band.
Right.
And Vicky really does see it as like a different dynamic. She kind of feels like the harder, and not necessarily, the louder, but like the more intense that the band is playing, then the more intense she'll be able to sing.
Right.
And
Her
she wants to be able to
yeah.
sing against the band.
I know when I first started,
Right.
I probably... By the way, all of you who are listening to me, I'm sorry I'm not a really good talker.
No,
but,
you're doing fine. It's good hearing the stories.
Matt's the one with all the gift of gab and all the big words. But anyways, one thing that I really love is I love rhythm and blues. I love doo-wop style. I love Ella Fitzgerald. If I could, that's the one thing I haven't touched upon with some kind of 40s band. Oh my God, I would totally love to do that.
But you hear some of the jazz influence in the big beat. I mean, I can hear it.
Well, I think you can now.
Vinny's playing and
it comes out, yeah. What are some of the R&B singers that you really dig, Vic? Like some of the...
I really love like Little Willie John.
Okay.
Oh my Lord.
He's shaking.
Man, if I could just learn to do runs like him. And you know what's funny is you're the one that told me, I think, that like Matt really loves James Brown, and he was like, did you know that James Brown was like, he was like in love with Lil Willie John's style? Like that was his influence.
I didn't know
that was one of his inspirations. I have no idea.
He has
but man,
album.
where does James Brown pull from? And he loved Willie John.
He actually has an album that was called, I think it was James Brown Sings Lil Willie John, and he's actually...
Oh, really?
He's on the front of the... He's on the front of his own... That? James Brown is on the front of his own album holding a Little Willie John album.
That's cool.
Wow.
It's a good tribute.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I do a lot of, like, I do Sugar Boy and his Cane Cutters. I do, Nature Boy, the Shields version. Incredible. I remember the first time we did Nature Boy, some of my bandmates were like, I don't know if that song's for this band. And I think by now, we do it beautifully. I really love that song. I love the story of that song.
Right.
And I remember the very first time we played it at a show, there was a drummer. I can't even remember the name of their band, but the drummer was fantastic. And he came up to me after the show. He's like, "Oh man, you guys pulled that off. I haven't heard anybody ever do an upbeat version of Nature Boy. That's so awesome." And I was like, finally, somebody. And it was somebody cool who said it. So, you know.
Which made it mean that much more.
You know what I want to say to all the ladies out there, in the rockabilly scene? I would love to just have a jam session with you girls. I'd love to have a party at my house and just have all the girls, just the girls, show up and just do like a jam session.
Sounds a little
you
sexist.
You know who you are. Well, we'll have the boys another day, but I'd love to get my hands on some of the girl singers so we could just jam. Just a jam. Like somebody, believe me, I know I'm getting a little loud here, but I'm just saying somebody should either have a doo-wop party or a hairdo party, or I would just love a jam session. Just let's rent out a hall. I'll put my share in, and let's just have a jam session.
You can email Vicky at Vicky Tafoya at yahoo.com.
I'm not kidding, man. Isn't everybody bored? Because I get bored sometimes with the same old...
She will help you plan your event.
Oh, come on. Don't make fun.
No,
I mean it, though.
Let's
rent a thing out.
But they should get a hold
Let's
of you.
get together,
That's
man.
what music's about.
We're all so disconnected, you know. Everybody's got their own little clique and their little corner. And I just want to do, you know. I just want to do.
There's a beautiful park across the street here.
Thank
we can
you.
Just take
Do they have a tunnel where we can have some echo?
We'll go underneath the slide.
They get a hold of me, Vicky Tafoya at yahoo.com.
There you go. Vicky Tafoya at yahoo.com. Let's start this. Let's get some girl groups together and get some new music, fresh music out there. Some new bands, new artists playing together. Well, you mentioned just a little while ago that you like that song "Heart Darling Angel" by the Orlans. Let's play that right now.
Oh, wow. Okay,
we got that queued up.
I love that song.
Here we go. In 2, 1.
Twisting to the right, twisting all around and around.
All right, we are back right there. You heard Twistin' Postman by the Marvelettes, and right before that, the Orleans, Heart Darling Angel. 2 songs that have influenced Vicky Tafoya that she likes. And again, we have Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld here in studio today on Mad Matt's Radio Roundup, talking about the history of the band, how things got started, some special memories, talking about doo-wop, rhythm and blues, and everything else in between. So thanks again for coming in studio, and let's get back to the stories. So Matt, we were talking during the break about some memories. You want to share those now that we're back on air?
Oh yeah, no, I was just commenting on the first time that I think I heard Vicky sing, and I think it was probably about 1993, if memory serves me right.
And you were in a band with Vinny?
Yeah, not yet.
Oh, no?
Not yet.
Really? Oh.
Not yet.
How'd that
Vicky was a blonde at the time.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. Now let's share all these details.
It was dirty. It was like a light brown.
Yeah, I like to tell the whole story. So. No, I was at a party at a mutual friend of ours' house, and we were talking. In those days, I felt like it was a good scene, but it was kind of like a tight knit scene.
Right.
Like everybody knew everybody, and
you knew Derek and
the way that you would meet people in those days was, you would go to car shows, and everybody was seeking out the same thing. You know what I mean? It was pre-internet, it was pre-cell phone, it was pre all those little goodies. So the only way that you could do it was you had to show up. You had
what
to
year
find
was
out.
that?
I think it was probably about 1992 or 93.
Oh, you were probably really young.
I was probably about 14,
Oh
and
my gosh.
so we had some mutual friends, and I was just getting into playing music. I had been into music for a little bit, but I was really starting to, at this point, figure out, where the party's happening, where are the gigs happening, and I would have to go to the Doll Hut and stand outside the door, and I would have to go to, ask people for rides places.
Just a baby.
Yeah, just a youngster, and that's how I met a lot of the guys that were in the scene, and Vicky was performing at, not even performing. Performing sounds way too more of a professional term.
It was
like
a song or two up there.
This was literally like 50 or 75 people hanging out in the backyard, and everybody played, and there were a couple bands.
Derek, the car club,
and it was just a very open environment. People would be get invited up to sing and invited up to play. And if you were at one of these functions and people knew you were a musician, it was just inevitable that you were going to get invited up at one point. Like if Vicky was there, you knew that somebody was going to call her up and she was going to do a couple songs. If somebody else was there who played guitar, then they would get called up. I mean, if Russell Scott was there hanging out and he brought his whole band, they would play. If it was just Russell, then he would get up and play bass behind somebody. And it was just a very cool kind of grassroots communal kind of vibe. And it was the thing that was cool was it allowed people to learn. I think that nowadays the way that we get our information is so like we have to have it now. We have to have it 5 minutes ago. and if you are in such a hurry to acquire that information, you get the information quicker, but it's a lot less special. It's a lot less fun. You know what I mean? And it really does have to do with where you're at in your life too. And for me, I was just a youngster, so I was really drinking all this in. And,
I remember you that day.
And the things that people would sing or the things that people would play, you would literally like just have to dog ear that stuff in your mind and put it on a Post-it. Like
he was very quiet back
note
then.
to self.
Like fly on the wall, observing everything.
Yeah, okay, this guy just played the song and it's by this guy Link Ray. Well, I don't know what that is or who that is, but I'm going to go find out more songs by him.
Right.
Or this person just sang this song and they're calling this, doo-wop, or this is, this song. So you really had to go and dig into, because in those days I wasn't putting that fine of a point on it. I wasn't saying, well, this is instrumental and this is R&B and this is doo-wop and this is rock and roll.
It's just something that I like.
It was just like,
something that you liked.
When I hung around with these guys, or I was with my mom in the car and you heard oldies radio, it was all just oldies. That's how it was. It was
but
that.
You didn't know that it
was all that banner. You know what I mean? It wasn't all these different genres, and it really, in getting the information that way, it really allowed me to learn more and really string it out longer. You know what I mean? And really get to like soak it all up. And like a lot of guys at that time, I got to a lot of bands like through the Stray Cats. You know what I mean? If you were into that group, you would read like the liner notes, and you would read, who were they covering and stuff like that. And I found out about Wynonie Harris and Gene Vincent and all these guys through them. I mean, it literally was like I always felt that they did themselves and everybody else a great service by doing that, because it was like, that's how they were showing everybody the people that influenced them. You know what I mean? That's how they were doing it. They would talk about folks in interviews, and they would cover their songs. And, we'd go to these parties, and I was like just a fly on the wall, kind of trying to drink it all in. And a couple of my friends, like my friend Derek, he was in a car club called the Lonely Kings, and that was a car club that Mike Ness had started. And you would go to these parties, and the Shifters and all these guys would be in a backyard, and it would be like, maybe sort of like, 15 or 20 cars, but it was all like the people who were like really into stuff,
I got to sit in Mike Ness's car that night. It was awesome.
And a lot of things got born out of that. Like I said, like Vicky had mentioned, I started a band with her husband, who wasn't her husband at the time, obviously, but my good friend Vince. And he's obviously, Vicky and Vince have been married almost 20 years, and he's the guitar player in the Big Beat and stuff. And
but back then you were Los Infernos.
Yeah, and back then, that's kind of how Los Infernos started. Was I had met Vince and our bass player Danny, and they, we're talking about getting a group together and everything like people do, and nobody really knew any singers.
Okay,
there were these guys that stood up there and kind of shouted in front of a band, but they weren't necessarily like singers. So I had a friend named Derek Kuhn that I said, I got my friend Derek, and Derek was playing in a rockabilly group at the time called the Rockin' Coyotes.
Okay.
And they were, they did a lot of covers, and they did maybe a few originals sprinkled in here and there. But it was Dave Brown, who is famous in Riverside for running the Denim Bank for years and years and years, and then he started Deluxe.
Okay.
And his daughters are actually in the Summer Twins, so he's a local legend guy that's played music forever, and
I love their harmonies.
It's carried on to his children now.
Great.
His girls are in a band, and the drummer was a guy named Ronnie Gutenberg, and the guitar player was a guy named Tony Santilla, and Derek Kuhn was their singer. And this is one of the groups that I would see playing in the backyard and stuff. So when it came time to start my thing, we were kind of at a loss because we didn't have a singer. And I said, well, I know my friend Derek. Let me just have him come down and sit in. And
great story.
And
I don't think I've ever heard this.
We all kind of started jamming at our friend's house, and 2 months turns into 4 months, turns into 6 months, and then you got your songs going and everything like that. And then fast forward, that was in about 1994 when that started. So fast forward about another year, about 1995, Derek's brother, whose name is Dana, was getting married.
Okay.
And this was old-fashioned backyard type wedding, you know what I mean? All the car clubs turned out again, faced all their headlights kind of inward, walked down the aisle.
And on my end, I'm growing up in Santa Ana, and a friend of mine from over there was saying, hey, this friend of mine's getting married. Maybe you could do her hair and makeup.
Yeah,
so I hadn't even really met him or Vince.
Well, that's kind of the culmination of the story right here. Is what happened was they wanted to have some bands play at their wedding. Los Infernos played, the Rockin' Coyotes played. But and long story short, Vicky's there doing, because everybody knew everybody.
I did all the bridesmaids.
So Vicky's there doing the hair and makeup for the wedding party. We're there performing, and that's how Vicky met Vince.
Wow.
Was at that wedding. And we all hung around.
And I also met you.
Yeah.
Or I might have met you maybe a little bit.
We had met a couple times before that, but that was the first time that we really sat down and like had a powwow, and you start playing CDs and talking about these groups and that groups, and and I would and again I was probably 17 at that time, so I mean I was still like you're still learning, and everything in those days, like I said, it wasn't so fine of a point. It wasn't like you had to be into rockabilly or you had to be into punk rock or you had to be you're drinking it all in. So I would sit down and I would talk with these guys, and Vicky would say, oh, have you ever heard of this band, The Muffs? Or, oh, have you ever heard of this group? Or have you ever heard of that group? And we would literally sit down and we would play The Muffs, Doo-Wop, the Royal Crown Review, and Reverend Horton Heat, and we'd play that all in one afternoon.
Sure.
Wow.
I mean, like people back then, I don't know what they thought. I didn't know anybody. I had never been to the Inland Empire, by the way. That 95 was my 93 I went to an insane party.
She was hooked ever since.
In 93 I went my first time to the Inland Empire because I spent a lot of time in LA with my friends. Okay. And they liked a little bit of harder music, and when I first met, like I guess people in the rockabilly scene, they heard me sing, but I guess they didn't know that I liked punk rock or if I liked anything else, But one thing I do want to say, because nobody ever really knows, like some of the people who have taught me how to sing is like Little Willie John. He has taught me how to do runs. Jimmy Clanton has showed me how to turn a phrase with my tongue, or Karen Carpenter. people like that we know I don't normally talk about. But I mean, Karen Carpenter has showed me how to hold my voice. You know, when I was a kid, you know, I would hear my mom bought a record. I think it was 10 cents, the thrift store. It was a record with no cover, and it was, I can't remember what song it was, but I'm just saying, you know, like those people taught me how to sing, how to hold my breath, how to chain breathe, you know, and then like the Dickies and the Ramones, those ones taught me to sing a little freer, you know. And I know that the Dickies, I think, were always like. They're always challenged by a lot of punk bands, and they kind of got the bad end of the stick sometimes because they did love songs, and I saw what is it on one of the documentaries, they didn't like, the punkers didn't like that they were singing about love, you know, but I absolutely love, like my two favorite bands like that kind of punk style is the Ramones and the Dickies. I mean, they just are so melodic, like endless, and the songs, there's so many, and I love them.
And the hardest part,
and I know that's weird, that was like a weird triangle of people, you know,
no,
but they have taught me so much.
well, you have a lot of musicians on your show, and for me, one of the hardest things about being a musician is trying to, like Vicky said, pick up on all of the little things that these artists do that makes them unique, and you somehow pick all that stuff up and you take it with you, and you want to incorporate it into your own style, and that to me is the hardest thing to do. Is you don't want to emulate things.
No, but you can kind of pick and choose the key characteristics of different artists that you appreciate, and then create your own sound based upon that, which you can tell in the songs.
And that's a hard thing to do that with some original flavor, and to be able to do that for any length of time. I mean, you can make a song, and you can make a couple songs, and you might even make an album, but make 10 albums.
Right.
You know what I mean? Have that longevity.
My only sadness is that I haven't made more albums. I've had a lot of fans complain to me, why aren't you playing? You know, it costs money. You know, that's the thing. You know, somebody sponsor us, please, and I'll make part 2. I know that we just put out the volume 1 of.
That's the hardest thing. Is
right.
You know, a lot like
I've never let go.
Said, like that's a misconception. You know, they see you on the main stage of Viva Las Vegas, and they think, oh man, you know, this group's hip. You know, they made it. They must be on like Capitol Records.
Like
or
my family thinks I'm rich. All my family from Orange County, and I just want to say hello, Mom. My mom turned 90 last year.
Happy birthday!
And that's the hardest thing is, like Vicky said, like sometimes, you know, getting the financing together. And if
one thing I don't like is I don't like things rushed. I don't like it. I want something. I want good. I want quality. You know, like the first Big Beat record, to me, you know, it was okay. We did okay, you know, but this next one is much better with the newer songs. And we also, this is Never Let Go, Part 1.
Yeah.
And Matthew is actually my lead guitarist. Thank you, Matthew.
And where can people buy that right now so they can get themselves
they can buy
a
it
copy?
on CD Baby. I believe it's on Amazon.com too.
Right. Yeah, go buy a copy. We'll be playing songs off that later, but go get yourself a copy. It's a great new album.
Yeah, it's available on iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, a lot of the online outlets.
Yeah, we're gonna make a volume 2 this year too, definitely. But I do want to go back to the party. One of the exciting things about that party was when I was singing a song. You know, Mike Ness was actually there with his Lonely Kings and Derek, and he came up to me.
And who's Mike Ness for people who don't know?
He's a singer from Social Distortion. I think they know.
If you've been under a rock in Southern California for the last 20 years, then yeah.
Well, I remember he came up to me and he wanted me to sing some background on one of his albums. And I actually went to the studio with Social Distortion and I sang the background. But at the time, Mike said his manager didn't really want them to go in that direction, which was fine. But it really was a nice,
cool experience.
Yeah, it was nice.
What year was that?
And he was so cool. I mean, they all were cool, and Dennis was cool. All the guys were cool.
I think that was probably about 19. I know that when he saw her, it was probably around 93.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say that she went in and she sang around 94 or 95 because her and Vinny were already dating at the time that she went in the studio. Okay. And they got together in 95. So I think it would have been.
Oh yeah, I think
he was preparing demos for what would become
his solo
White
stuff?
Light, White Heat, White Trash.
Okay.
That was in 96.
I don't know about that, but
I think that's what he was working.
I was just curious if maybe that's what his label not letting him do that. If that's what led him to, his solo stuff. He did more, more free form stuff that he probably wouldn't have done under Social Distortion. So
I don't know.
We couldn't have done more.
I think in the chain of things, in the history of things, it happened more around before that Social Distortion record. But like Vicky says, because it never really came to light, who knows if that was something? I mean, you try things. You go in the studio, and maybe this was something.
I remember the song was cool and kind of eerie sounding, but I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, I wonder where that went to.
Yeah.
He's always been pretty good at bringing like new textures to the thing. So he was probably even in those days fooling around with, well, let me get some different voices in here and let me see how it's going to be, and.
All right. Well, why don't we let's play a few more tracks right now, and let's get into, and then we'll start talking about after this break, but let's play a few tracks off that Redondo's album that was released in 2006, and then we'll start talking about that and move along. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup today, live out of Studio W. Make sure to tell all your friends to tune in today and every Thursday. All they got to do is download that free IMG2 app to their phones. They can listen anywhere, or go to studiow.buzz, and you can stream it live on your computer and internet. So again, thanks for tuning in. And right now we're going to play a few songs off the 2006 Redondo's release that Vicky Tafoya was on, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that. This first track's called That's the Way It Goes.
I still remember the day that we met. Your smile is something I'll never forget. And since that day my love grows and grows. Ooh, that's the way it goes. The way it goes. I spent a lifetime just waiting for you. But from now on, dear, my searching is through. For you have made all my dreams come true. Ooh, and that's the way it goes. Boom, boom. From out of nowhere you came into view. Now I'm completely in love with you. You walked right in, my heart walked out. You took its place without doubt. So won't you please open your heart to me. For since I've known you, you're all that I see. You are the one, love, that my heart has chosen. That's the way it goes.
You're gone, only the dreams remain. Dreams that we both once shared. Dreams that I thought would come true. You're gone, I thought our love would last, but now it's in the past, and here I sit alone. At night, moonlight floods my room. The dark brings me nothing but gloom. How can I face the crowd? They'll ask me where you are. Darling, I can't deny. They'll soon find out we're gone. At night, moonlight floods my room. The dark brings me Darling, I can't deny. They'll soon find out you're gone. They'll soon find out you're gone. They'll soon find out you're gone. You are there in your eyes. There in your eyes. Is it there in your eyes that I see your love? Is it there in your eyes sent to me from up above? As I look at you, I can see it's there in your eyes. There in your eyes, 'cause it's your eyes and the sunshine and the sky. You're mine forever, such a wonderful guy. Just like the starshine, I can see it's there in your eyes. Look at me, our love was meant to be together in love faithfully. Loving you, such a wonderful thing, darling, for you and for me. Is it there in your eyes that I see your love? There in your eyes, sent to me from above. Baby, oh baby, I can see it's there in your eyes.
All right, everybody. You heard 3 right there off the Redondo's 2006 release, starting that set out with That's the Way It Goes, and then You've Gone, and then ending it right there with There in Your Eyes that you wrote, correct, Vicky? You wrote
Yes,
that one?
I wrote that
cool.
one.
Yeah, what a great tune that is. 3 great songs right there off that album. And then we're sharing stories and other stuff of the earlier days. So then after your Big Beat album, this was the next release you did. What led to the forming of the Redondos and getting together with Eddie Nichols and those guys and
Let's see.
starting
Well,
this
Vicky
group?
was somewhere singing in the hallways.
That's
That's
so
always
the
how
story goes.
That's always how it starts, man.
Well-
That's literally what happened again.
Well, what happened was Los Infernos
Goes
was
back to
opening
that,
up
too.
for Los Infernos was opening up for Royal Crown Review at the Glass House, and I was just my boyfriend was Vince. He's my husband now, but back then he was my fiance, and they were opening up. So I went to the show, and we were in the green room, and then it was time for Royal Crown to go on, and Los Infernos, they jumped off the stage and they ran to the audience because they wanted to see the show. And I wanted to see the show too. I wasn't too familiar with Royal Crown Review at the time, I knew who they were, but I didn't really know the songs, I guess I was just a nerd. I don't know. Anyhow, but I was in the green room still, and if you're backstage at the Glass House in the green room, the ceilings are really tall, and I kept clapping, and I was like, ooh, and just singing like the echoes. I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Do you remember what year this was?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same
I don't. It's in the 90s.
thing.
late
you all know
90s.
I
that?
think it might have been even later than that because
Oh, okay.
if we were opening up for Royal Crown at the Glass House, I think it was 99 or 2000. I'm just trying to give people dates of when
Sure,
we kind of started.
I don't remember
Let's
when
just say it was
was
2000.
Sure.
Ish.
Sure.
And
Ish.
I remember I was singing, I don't know what doo-wop song I was singing, but I was singing to the walls because they were just so high, and it was such a big echo in the back, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. I mean, everybody was running to the stage and going to the audience. I mean, his band, they ran to be in the audience to go. They're like, I'm not going to miss Crown. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll be right there. My husband's like, well, hurry up, I'm going, we're going to get all trampled or whatever. So I was in the back green room, still nobody was back there, and I was singing To the Walls and doo-wop, and I hear somebody, who's singing that doo-wop? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was anybody back here. And there was a guy, he was putting his suspenders on and zipping his pants up. He's like, no, it's all right, it's cool. I got to get up on stage right now. And I didn't know who it was, and he didn't know who I was. And it was Eddie, and he was on his way to stage. But he was like, hey, hi, I'm Eddie, and who are you? And, let's sing some more doo-wop after the show. And I'm like, okay. I didn't. Okay, so then after that, I kind of freaked out, and I just went to go watch the show, and the show was fantastic. And then after the show, sure enough, I came back to the green room, and we went on the roof up the stairs, and me and Eddie started singing doo-wop. And he was like, oh man, how do you know this? How do you know these songs? Oh, sing this one, and we just had like a connection. It was just, we just clicked, And he's like, give me your number. I'm going to call you. And I'm like, and my husband's like, he's not going to call you.
Well,
and I'm like, hey,
Eddie's another one of those old school heads where he grew up in punk rock, and he grew up in R&B, and he knows a lot about music, man. He's
very smart.
Yeah, he's a really, really smart guy.
And,
man. So he was into all that other stuff that you were into.
Yeah.
That's how it used to work out. It was like, this person's into this, and but you don't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You start talking about
because they figure, oh, well, they're in Royal Crown Review, so they just must listen to Cab Calloway all day or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Eddie had a real rich musical knowledge of
that's what
of
they
playing
think,
bands.
but then, they're...
And there was always a little weird, like, Los Infernos Royal Crown Review connection because we opened up for this band called the Beat Farmers.
Oh, okay.
From San Diego.
He just played recently.
In the 90s. Thing, and a guy who was doing guitars for them at the time and doing their roading was a guy named Ross Nichols. And he was from San Diego.
Okay.
And took us a little bit to put two and two together.
But
after we
related?
got to know Ross is Eddie's brother.
Okay.
And so Ross had actually gone on the road with Los Infernos, and he wound up being our tour manager for a time and our guitar tech for a time. And so it was just, I think, like it's a matter of time before.
Too sometimes, hey, my brother knows them, and
it's like a matter of time before you meet everybody. But just we knew Ross, we didn't know Eddie.
Oh, okay.
So I think that was one of the reasons why we were probably opening for Royal Crown was that in those days, if you had that kind of a band and you played in the Inland Empire, like Los Infernos was probably the opening act, whether it was Horton Heat or Voodoo Daddy or Royal Crown or whoever. And then here comes another, like Vicky said, meeting of folks where it's like, once again at a gig, you're getting together and you're singing.
Well,
and then I grew up with a guy named Matt Mazzola, who I went to high school with. And after Vicky and Eddie had been singing together for a little minute.
By the way, 2 weeks after that, he called me.
And
so
he did end up calling.
2 weeks after that show, he called me and said, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Hi. And he's like, well, if you meet me at the train station, I'll pick you up. And he did. I went in the train from where I lived.
This
from
was out
Colton
to where?
To L.A., to the Union Station. And he picked me up in his Hudson. And we went to his house and we practiced. And I met a couple of other guys that we sang with. And we actually sang at the Derby that day. I think we sang 3 songs. It was incredible.
Wow.
And I told my husband, you got to pick me up. He's like, oh my God, where are you? What are you singing? And he was very excited. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was just. That's what I'm saying. That's how things fall together. She knew a guy, and Eddie knew a guy, and then they got brought into the fold.
And then Matt knew Matty Mazzola.
Okay.
He was my baritone, but he moved to Arizona and got married, and he has a kid. Hi, Matty.
I remember Vicky and Vince were like saying, hey, Vicky's got this project going with Eddie Nichols, and it's going to be all a cappella. It's going to be like, doo-wop and R&B and all the
it was
acapella
such
stuff.
a labor of love. It was it was my baby.
I remember them asking me, like, do you know singers? Do you know any singers? And I was like, well, I don't. Try Matt Mazzola. He's a singer. He was a buddy I grew up with.
And he ended up being in the group.
And I knew that he was into stuff like, he was a big, like, Beatles head and like harmony and stuff like that.
So he had that background to.
Yeah, he had a lot of, they love Beach Boys and the Beatles and, these great, like, harmony groups.
Right.
So then we used to go practice in Long Beach on near a street near Redondo Avenue or Redondo
Oh, okay.
something, and that's how we got our name. We would look right out the window and it said Redondo on the street, and that's how we got our name.
Oh, that's cool. It has some background and meaning
Yeah.
to that. And the fourth guy who rounded the band out?
Jimmy Gemelli,
Yeah,
and he was in a band called Subway to Venus. Fantastic singer,
And Eddie knew
arranger,
him, right? Like Eddie was the one
songwriter.
that brought him to the table, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were all really fantastic. Like, I remember the first time I came to rehearsal one time, and Eddie was kind of looking at me strange, and I'm like, what's the matter? He goes, "Hey, Vic, I didn't know that you did all that, what you did before you came in this band." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't know." He goes, I kind of looked you up and
Dug into
saw-
her history a little bit.
okay.
with the doo-wop society shows, and he was just like blown away, and I'm blown away by him, you know, because he's amazing. Him and Jimmy are fantastic songwriters, singers. The harmony, one of the best times of my life. I wish I could do it again, you know.
You plan on doing
But
more work with them?
I would
or hope
love
maybe?
to. They're actually on the new record. When you
Oh,
get a chance to
yeah,
play the new
those
record,
tracks, yeah.
and they didn't get that fourth voice, so they asked Matt to
Yeah.
sing the fourth part, and he did. Thank you, by the way.
Cool. So yeah, so hopefully you do another record with them. And
Oh,
come
God,
full
I
circle
would
with that.
love to do
I
that.
think
I
it's
gotta
time.
go on record as saying that, you know, obviously, you know, you're a fan of the people that you work with, you know, at least I am, and I gotta say that I mean, obviously, not discrediting anything that I've done with Vicky. I love all the music that we've made together. I really think that's one of her finest hours because, like Vicky said, it's a very pure music,
Right.
and I really think that's the heart and soul of what she does.
And
you
again,
know?
there's something special about that when you take away the musician and you just hear those
Oh,
vocals.
the acapella is my
Yeah.
absolute favorite.
And
I
I,
really
like
think
the
that's
range
true.
of so many
I
of these
would-
different songs on
I
that
would
album
love to
because
do
there's slow
just
songs,
the
there's different ones with
doo-wop
different
record,
harmonies.
just with
like,
doo-wop
man.
records. I'd love to sing all the background by myself. You know, I would
Yeah.
love to. I just, you know, like again,
Yeah,
it
I
takes
think
money.
that's her finest.
You know, I want to
finest
get
hour.
I want to get like a real job just so I can pay for the record.
Yeah.
You know, I was hoping to win the Powerball, but the guys
I
over
think a
in,
lot of people.
Yeah, that didn't work out for me.
Me neither.
The power guy,
We're heading
Powerball
over
guy,
to Waterman afterwards.
Yeah, we'll go.
the
We're-
Powerball
go-
guy,
Make some dough.
whoever you are, I need a loan. But yes, and working with Redondos, you know, one time Royal Crown needed. Eddie asked me if I would sing the Christmas song, "Baby It's Cold Outside"
okay.
with Royal Crown Review, and that was
That
really
got released,
that was a
right?
nice
Or didn't
pleasure.
it? Or did-
No, yeah,
I
it's on
think
the Warner
yeah.
Brothers comp. Yeah, and that was fun too, doing that
Yeah,
one.
I forgot. Yeah, I like that track too. That's a good Christmas track.
Yeah,
I hear it all the time, like
but
Christmas
it
time
really
at the
it really
stores and
was one of
stuff.
the best times in my life doing the Redondos. I just, like I said, I wish I could do it all the time.
You have any special show memories or anything that stands out during that time, or something that kind of
No,
made you
just
like?
it
feel-
just
They got-
was my pleasure. It's just
They
such a
got
glorious
crazy shows.
time.
They got crazy shows, and by that I mean like they would be playing some show at the Palladium with Big Sandy,
Oh.
and then or something. And then they would be like opening for Chris Isaac at the House of Blues,
Wow.
and then they would be at Viva Las Vegas. You know, it
I
was
guess that's
just
a
like,
good range of that band can kind of
yeah,
fill
that's what
in
I'm
for
saying.
a lot
Like,
of.
I mean,
Well, the beautiful thing about the acapella is you can take it anywhere. There's no plug-in. I
Yeah.
mean, unless you need a mic. but
yeah.
With
But
my
I mean,
big
to
mic-
walk
my
into the
big
House of
mouth,
Blues and see Chris Isaac and see them open, I
Sure.
mean, that's
That's
a
special.
very eclectic thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really cool, man. Really cool.
just one of the best times of my life. Believe me, I wish I could. Like, I wish Matt. Like, I wish we could start a doo-wop group. I would just
You
sing
can.
every
Do
day.
it.
You know, we need other singers.
you know, yeah, it's
So if
Yeah.
you're listening, you're a doo-wopper, and you want to get involved.
As well as she really set the standard, I think, with the Redondos because no, those are, and she'll tell you those are four fantastic singers, four fantastic voices, four fantastic minds.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy and Matt have a ton of
And then
of
Eddie and Jimmy,
fantastic
they're
ability.
fantastic arrangers too, you know.
But Vicky,
I just sing, I just open my mouth and it comes out.
Vicky
but
and
I don't know
Eddie-
about an arranger of any kind. And Matt too, he's a fantastic arranger.
Vicky and Eddie
with the
really
big
had the knowledge of the history of the music,
Right.
You know what I mean? But you need folks
Like they
to help.
can read music and they can write charts and I don't even know what the first note means. Like I look at all the little black dots and I'm like, I don't even know what that, you know.
And who was it? Kind of a communal decision for some of the song choices on that album for some of
Well,
the
I
covers.
pick a
or
lot
did
of them.
you chose a
I
lot of those.
remember I pick a lot of them, and some later on after you sing them a few times, you regret. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that one. That one's kind of high. You know, like "Love Is a Clown" on there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so high. And I think we did the 17 songs. I think in 6 or 8 hours. It took us 6 or
Wow.
8 hours. And
where did
17 songs is a lot of
that's-
songs, and I do a lot of the leads.
Where did you record that at, Vic?
I believe it was in Crossroads somewhere in Hollywood.
Oh, Crossroads of the World.
I think somewhere in there. But I should know this, right?
Nah.
But anyways, I incredible. It's just incredible.
Oh, that's a great experience, and it's good that you have that out now. And that's another album. Go out there and buy that, people. If you don't have a copy yet, go out and buy that. And is that on CD Baby as well, or do
You
they
know
have to
what?
go through you?
Redondo's only we have it.
Well,
You
then
know, I might
that's,
have a couple.
That's a much
copies.
better excuse to go to one of their live shows coming up, is to go buy a copy of that as well and support live music and support the bands that are making this beautiful music and
Or
keep it
email
alive
her,
out there.
get in touch.
Or you can email
Yeah,
me.
was
And,
Vicky Tafoya at yahoo.com.
Yes.
There you go. Email, get yourself a copy. So let's play another track off that album, one that I enjoy. Let's play Come My Way.
oh, Maddie wrote this.
Darling, won't you come my way? Come my way. You've been wandering so long from my gentle loving arms, so come my way. Darling, won't you look at me the way I want you to, the way I need you to, so come my way. Oh, darling, won't you come my way? Come. Oh, darling, won't you come my way? Darling, 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 won't you stay with me? Like the stars that shine above, I'll watch over you, my love, so come my way. Oh, darling, won't you come my way? Oh, darling, won't you come my way? Won't you come my, won't you come my, won't you come my way? Come my way, 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 come my You are my only love, like the stars up above, you're the light in my heart. Each night I dream of holding you tight, dream of kissing each night, never to part. We could fly, senorita, to paradise. Oh, darling, I love you so. And down there, each night I pray, my only love, like the stars up above, 'cause you're my only
The All-American Half Pure beef patties, lettuce, tomato. This is rock and roll radio. Come on, let's rock and roll with the Ramones. This is Rock and Roll Radio. Stay tuned for more rock and roll.
Oh, yeah, the Ramones right there. Do you remember Rock and Roll Radio? And right before that, we had two more tracks off that great Redondo's album, Come My Way and My Only Love. And again, in studio, we have Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld from Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat and Vicky and the Vengents. And you may be asking yourself, why Ramones? Wait, this sounds different. Well, there's a reason behind that, because all music influences things, and we're going to get into talking about her Vicky and the Vengents work. And so the Ramones, I take it, were a big influence on you and creating that sound? Or...
Oh, sure. The Ramones and the girl groups. The reason I chose that song to play was because he's singing about rock and roll, you know, and all that implies where Alan Freed comes in. Like, that's one of the first lines he talks about Alan Freed. But I'm sorry.
No,
you've always had that side to you too, the loud rock and roll side.
Yeah. Were there any other? So the Ramones. What other punk bands influenced? You said the Dickies earlier.
Like, those are my two favorite. They're just very melodic, and there's so many songs. I just like, it's endless. Like, I remember we drove well, we had a show just recently, and I think it was at 25 Hours from Houston, and I think Matt burned out on the Misfits, and I burned out on the Ramones. Just all the way home was so great.
And were there, so, there's other groups, modern groups nowadays that kind of girl group, punk rock groups. Were there any modern bands you'd maybe looked at or kind of?
Joan Jett.
I love Joan Jett. Oh God, I love her. I'm so proud of her, by the way, getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've followed her my whole life. I've been to so many shows, and I gotta say, quite a few shows. I've maybe seen her like 30 times in my lifetime. But when I was younger and I saw her, she would come. There was always be the people who want stuff signed and they're going to go sell it, and I just wanted to see her.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I got to see her, I got to go on her bus. I got to like every once in a while she would come out to the line and talk to me, and I was like, oh my God! But I absolutely love her. I love the Muffs. I love the Primitives? Mm-hmm. And what's the other one that I love? The Pristines.
Pristines.
I really love them.
Blondie, of course.
Blondie, of course.
The big one.
But I love a lot of girl bands, but I especially love the '60s girl groups.
It's the evolution of all that stuff.
Marvelettes, Shangri-Las, Ronettes.
Yeah, that's all great. And so that led to, when you started Vicky and the Vengeance, what led to that? What led to you starting that band or creating that band and trying to
Let's take it all the way back.
Let's go back.
The Big Beat.
1977.
No, it was it 2008?
Yep, 2008.
2008. Okay. I think it was August 25th. There you go. How about that?
I think it was July.
Oh, July 25th.
I heard it was June.
Close enough. Close enough.
Summer of 08.
Big Beat was doing a show in the park, concert in the park, and Matt had moved to Orange County with my guitar player, and he didn't move to Orange County with him, but he was just started rooming with him when he had already lived in Orange County for a few years. But I guess they somehow got together, and my guitar player brought Matt to the concert in the park.
Yeah, I came out to the show that they were doing. I hadn't seen him in a long time.
We were playing in the band shell at the park over here
really cool
in
gig,
Colton.
actually.
It was fun outside. I remember it was like 113 that day. It was so hot. But I remember Matt. He was talking through my whole set. Through the whole set. Well, kind of. So I looked at him out there and I said, oh my God, is that Matt in the audience? Sure enough it was. So we all went back to my house and we barbecued, hung out. And I think it was some kind of, I don't know what day it was, but they were celebrating something. But after we performed, they played like Grease on the big screen, and it was fun and hang out. So we went back to my house and everybody was getting drunk, and Matt doesn't drink, so
yeah. And this is prior to him playing in the Big Beat.
This is before he was in the Big Beat.
So you were doing Cadillac Tramp stuff at that time, or
he was in Cadillac Tramps and Adolescence.
Yeah, that's what I was. 2008. Yes, I was in both of those bands at that time.
Were you in Manic yet, or no?
No, I wasn't really in Manic. I just kind of like
sat in with them.
Filled in when they toured.
Yeah.
They needed guys. But
so
officially, the Tramps and the Adolescence was what I had going on at that time. Yeah.
So we went back to the house, and everybody, it was like all nighter, and I still remember it was so hot at night. And he had asked me if I had a guitar in the house, and I said, yeah, I have a couple. So I went to grab one, and he showed me this little thing on the guitar. Well, what do you think of this? Do you still write? And I was like, yeah, I do. And we wrote our first song. It was like almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And people were passed out on my bed. My husband was passed out on the floor in the front room on the carpet. And me and Matt, we just kept writing. I don't know how it happened. It wasn't planned.
Yeah, we never, like, we're it's funny because people, I don't know how they view us, but, like, we're not established artists in the way where we, plan out everything that we're going to do. I mean, there's some happenstance involved with what we do. It wasn't like her people called my people or whatever. It was literally like a grassroots thing. Like she said,
see what I mean?
I had come to see the Big Beat play. They were great. Saw them in the park. And I just went back to their house afterwards because we were just all kind of hanging out.
And we hadn't seen him in a while since he moved to Orange County.
And everybody just kind of does their thing at those get-togethers.
So it was nice to see him.
You get a guitar, you start jamming around, whatever.
Do you remember what that song was?
It was Alone. It was a song called Alone. It was off the first album.
It wasn't something that we set about to do where we were like, hey, we think that we're going to start a band together. I had started a band called the Vengents about 8 or 10 months before that. It's like tail into 2007.
So he'd already had the Vengeance.
Oh, okay.
And I was singing and playing guitar, and
they played a lot of surf.
And it was kind of like 60s garage meets surf meets like the Smithereens or something.
okay.
You know what I mean, there's a lot of like 60s
Interesting.
influence, and it was like
He was
just a
great.
few
He was great at singing. Fronting
cool.
the band. He
didn't know
sang
that.
really great.
Yeah, it's you can be a musician, but it takes a certain person to be able to front a group. You know what
Right.
I mean?
But it was great. Maybe another time you could hear.
We all see
Yeah.
those groups where we're like,
And he had told me about his band too.
we were all, but yeah, it's a situation where just because you're singing and playing guitar or writing songs in the group doesn't necessarily mean that you're fronting the group, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I was to a certain extent, but I knew that when I got together with Vicky and we had made a couple songs, I knew that it was like, okay, you know what? I can write songs with this person and it will be better than if I write songs by
Right.
myself, you
Yeah.
know? And it was pretty obvious to like both of us at that time, like, hey, like let's try to make this into a thing. So it literally was like, hey, you know what? I already have a group. If you want to come down to rehearsal and you want to sing a couple of these songs that we worked on,
And I'm not gonna lie.
then we can do that, and we did that, and I don't want to say how to vote, but we kind of all talked about it afterwards.
I felt a little weird because I didn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, but
you
I
know?
talked to the band and I said, well, what do you guys think about this? This is, I mean, there's no rules, there's no things set in stone.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
I wasn't so married to what I was doing that I had to be like, hey, this has to be my concept. Sometimes things happen after the fact.
You kind of started with the format and kind of had it loosely to
It
where
was
you could
very
start blending
scary.
other things.
It was
into
very scary in the
Yeah, I
beginning
didn't- and I
because it
didn't
just
wanna
kind of
put-
carried us.
I didn't want to put too fine of a point on it. I didn't want to say, oh, this can't. I didn't want to get in the way of what naturally seemed like
Right.
it wanted to happen. So she came down, she did a couple songs, we talked about it, and it was as easy as that. It was like I called the guys.
Like
and
the
they were
boys, they were kind of blown away.
They were like, yeah, no, it was great. I was our first bass player at that time was a guy named Vinny Malachi.
Right, yeah.
Who is long-time kind of extended family member at this point. Man,
Moved
I
away
met Malachi through a place I was working in Orange County at the time. We actually worked together. And the other member of our band at that time was a guy named Mondo Del Rio, and he played drums for us. And I'd known Mondo for years and years and years. He was the last drummer in Los Infernos, and he had played in a band called El Centro. He had been in a band called Mulch. He had his own band called Non-Tolerance, which was like a punk rock group. I think he's currently in the Generators, but he went on to play with the Adolescents and some stuff. So we all everybody kind of knew everybody. And we just started rehearsing it straight away. And like Vicky said, we hit a patch there where we were just really, at least for me, I don't know the rate that Vicky is used to working at up until that time for her. But for me, we had hit a real prolific patch there.
It was just happening. Like it was just the songs were just coming.
And so it just went.
Yeah.
So
We were getting together on a weekly basis, and every time we get together, there was
We would
a song.
even look at each other like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
Like they're just coming, you know.
Because that was my question, if there was more. So I guess it just kind of free flowed into
It
what it
kinda
was,
just-
rather than there being a thought. This is a different style of band. So I guess with
Right.
him being the backbone, or having the band, you kind of.
Yeah.
It was a collaboration of styles, and we knew that it was different than we had each really been accustomed
There-
to. But
Yeah.
It was a little bit of bittersweet in the beginning because there were some Big Beat fans saying like, "What the heck is she doing? Why is she doing that?" And then there was other Big Beat fans who's like, "Yeah, that's so cool.
and then there
Go
were-
for it."
It's always
But you
a
can't please
different-
everybody, you know.
Yeah, and
But in the
there's-
end, they liked it anyway. So.
Yeah, it
There's
just takes a while for people
that
to get
knew
hip to.
what I had done, and maybe we were fans of that liked it, and then there were people that were fans of Vicky stuff that liked it, and people. They have different ideas about what you do, but like we've always been of the mind that there's like a connective tissue through rock and roll, and when you hear bands like the Ramones and stuff like that, they're mentioning the Beach Boys and the Ronettes and all
Sure.
these. So to
Just
me,
like Crocodile Rock by Elton John, that's written about all the 50s stuff. Just like Rock and Roll Radio by the Ramones,
Yeah.
same thing. Like we wrote a song called Shauna about doo-wop music. It's not necessarily a doo-wop song. It's a rock and roll song about doo-wop music.
But that's kind of what I took away from punk rock was that here's the Ramones in the 70s, and they're like, well, we don't want to look like the bands in the 60s. We don't want to
Sure.
sound like the bands in the
Yeah.
60s. But we have no problem saying that we are influenced by that. But they tried
Sure.
to do their own
but
thing.
you create your own sound based on, and I think that's what's
Sure.
unique and cool about Vicky and the Vengeance is with your background kind of in punk and some of that faster style playing and mixed with your
Girl
girl
group,
groups,
yeah.
vocals,
Well, we
pop,
always kinda
like it
trade-
blended into a unique sound and
Sure.
vibe. And so why don't we play a few songs off that
Sure.
first record so people maybe who haven't heard this first album and
Okay.
heard these songs can kind of hear what we're talking about, and then we'll come back and talk some more about that. So this is off the first Vicky and the Vengeance album, A New Dawn, released in 2009. Let's play the song, The One You'll Never Know. Oh, yeah, 3 right there off that first Vicky and the Vengeance album, New Dawn, released in 2009, you heard right there. We started that set with The One You'll Never Know, then we played Out of My Mind, and that last one, Bobby. We can really hear the influence of those girl groups that influenced her, along with the punk rock sound in that. So let's get back to talking about that, and then we'll go into the next Vicky and the Vengeance album. So, yeah, we're talking a little bit in the break about little stuff here and there, so... Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I should have been more specific. Why don't we talk a little bit about Nick Curran when we're talking
okay. Well, I think Nick Curran is fantastic, and I'm really sad that he's gone. But I did have a memory. I was talking about it during break. One time, the Big Beat, we did the Rhythm Riot in England. And I remember Nick was on the bill with us, and he got picked up at Heathrow, just like we did. And I remember we didn't talk very much, but like in between the shows, like sound check and all that, his room was right next to ours in England. And I remember I was talking about the Vengents, and he kind of poked his head in the room, and I said, "Hey, come on in, sit down." And I was telling him about my new band, the Vengents, and he was like, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing," and he's like, "I really like this song, or I like that song." He goes, "Yeah, when we get back to the States, you'll have to show me some more." And then I believe that we went to see him at the Continental, and I think he did a Joan Jett version of "I Want to Be Your Dog." Oh, Iggy's, "I Want to Be Your Dog," and he rededicated it to the Vengeance that day. And then when I found out when his Reform School Girls came out, I was thrilled. We were exchanging notes, and he's like, "God, we got to get together, and do." But It's sad that he's gone, but he's just so fantastic, and I absolutely love what he was doing. And I remember he texted me. I still have a text from him saying, on that first album, I like number 1, number 2, number 7, number 9.
And we were just kind of talking about like the way that styles can merge together, and how Nick was just an innovator in that way, where he didn't mind crossing the streams, you know what I mean, and that was something like Vicky was saying, after they hung out in England, it was pretty evident on his next release that, you know what I mean, Reform School Girl, and bringing in some of those different, the
girl group stuff,
also. and just a lot of that stuff's real kind of Sonics, punk rock ish kind of stuff, and with Nick's guitar playing, it was just great. And I think that he was another great artist, man. I mean, there's people that play music, and then there's people that are artists, and Nick was an artist.
He definitely was fantastic. Original, genuine artist.
He wasn't scared to explore his influences.
And I love that.
And he wasn't afraid to put them on different albums.
And you could hear his energy and passion behind all that.
Oh, big time.
It wasn't, oh man,
True
the last
original.
album is
he's a
great.
really, really, really great guy too. I mean, and that's another thing everybody will tell you. Anybody that knew Nick knows that it's like,
cool
on top
cat.
of being a shredder and a lover of rock and roll, I mean, he would just sit down and just be like the most humble, down to earth dude, and he was just kind of taking all that stuff in as he went, and as his career, expanded and stuff. And Nick was just great. And he was
the one guy who talked to me the most about the Vengeance, and he was like, "I like what you're doing. I really like this song."
Because he was trying to do. He actually had another band with a guy named Zach Blair, who was a guitar player in a band called Hagfish, punk rock band from Dallas. And I don't know how much this band really came to light. Me and Vicky got lucky enough to hear some of the demos, and we heard some of the record, and it was really, that's kind of what I think he was trying to do. He had a band with Zach called DeGuayo, and they were out of Austin, Texas, and I don't know how often they played out, but that was Nick's kind of like punk rock-ish sort of thing that he was doing on the side, and I think that some of that influence from DeGuayo, he kind of brought that into the next Nick Curran and the Low Lifes release, and it's evident on there, and he's always been a guy that's like to experiment and cross the streams and stuff like that, and that's to be applauded, because when you get known for a certain style of music, people very much like to keep you there, and just like there would have been plenty of people that would have been fine if the Beach Boys would have just wrote about cars and girls and
I have to say something. I'm sorry. I just have to say something. He just said the magic word right now. The Beach Boys are one of my top, like probably if not my most favorite next to doo-wop. The Beach Boys, the vocals, insane.
Well, that's where I was going with that too.
Incredible.
Oh my God. So many people, when Pet Sounds came out, they were kind of scratching their heads like, well, what are these guys doing? I mean, they're like, but what happened was that band was getting a little bit older, and they didn't want to sing about things that 18-year-olds sing about, because now they're 24 and 25 years old. So they took that step, and now if you look back, history will show
everybody
you
looks
that
at that now as an iconic album. So
Right.
I was going to ask you how. I'm sure there were some hurdles when you guys first started getting out there and playing those shows.
Yes,
How
a
was
lot
that?
of promoters don't know what to do with the Vengeance.
yeah, it's kind of
They're
like,
we for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason we do fantastic with surf bands, and that's why when we first when the first drummer left, we just want to say that. I'll say it nice instead of us kicking him out.
well.
When the first one left, when he went his own way, we'll say that. I told Matt, he's like, "What kind of drummer do we need?" I go, "You know what I think? I think we need like a surf drummer. Can we get like a surf drummer? Because I think that one would fit the way the songs go or the way they're written." And right away, you go ahead and take that one.
no, she had just said, you need a surf drummer, and I only know one, and he's the best one. His name's Dusty Watson.
Yeah, I was going to ask how that came about.
And
I saw the back of the album.
Again, man,
Amazing.
This stuff just
Incredible.
This stuff just always goes back to.
And Dusty knows Matt from back in Los Infernos days.
Okay,
They've known
that's
each
how-
other
Well,
for quite a bit.
that's what I was going to say, is that this stuff goes back to prior experiences, and that's how you meet people and the people that you carry with you. I met Dusty in 1999. He was in Agent Orange at the time, and Los Infernos was on tour with them, and we just got to be fast friends. We were like kind of the only two sober guys on the tour, and we'd hang out and drink coffee and watch Laker games and stuff like that, and that's what we like to do. And he would invite me out to play Miserlou with Agent Orange. It was just great. Dusty was just always been such a fantastic guy, and we've always kind of stayed in touch. And when I was playing in a lot of the bands I was in Orange County, when I was playing with the Cadillac Tramps and the Adolescents, our paths would cross because he was kind of doing Agent Orange against at the time, and the Adolescents would play shows with them, and I'd see him backstage, and Dusty's always been great. I did a show, one of the first Vengents shows that I did. I hired Davey Allen and the Arrows to play a show in Orange County, and Dusty was playing drums with them.
That was great.
And he's just always, for those of you who don't know who Dusty Watson
I wasn't in the
is,
band yet, and I went to see it, and it was great.
for those of you who don't know who Dusty Watson is, he's a local Inland Empire guy. He's from Corona, California, and he has had one of the greatest careers in music that I know. He
Personally,
he
that we know.
He moved to LA in probably the late 70s, early 80s, and he was in Lita Ford's band. He played on Lita Ford's first record. He was in Concrete Blonde. He was in Agent Orange. He was a drummer for the Super Suckers for a good stretch. He was Dick Dale's drummer all through the 90s, which is a huge gig. And Dusty literally has played with everybody, and everybody has the same experience. Everybody who's played with Dusty loves Dusty. And
Incredible.
He
That's all I
always
can
told
say.
me, hey, if you need a drummer, call me up. And we did, and when she said surf drummer, the light just kind of went on like ding, ding, ding. And I called Dusty and I said, hey, man, would you be willing to sit in with us on these next couple of shows? And he did. And we got another drummer after that, a guy by the name of Johnny Vile, who was with us for about a year and a half. And when Johnny left, it was really coming time to make the next Vengeance record. So yet again, I called Dusty and said, hey, man, would you be into doing a couple pre-production rehearsals with us, checking out this material, and maybe possibly recording a record with us? And he was like, absolutely, sign me up, let's go. And that's really his attitude toward everything. I mean, his exuberance and passion for music is like Vicky's. It's contagious. If you play in a room with Dusty, it'll be an experience. And I can't say enough great things about him. He came
You just
down.
stand near him and you just want to be better.
And he was on our next
strive to be better.
He was on our next two releases, and
Yes.
we were lucky enough to have him.
He was on Cry Now, Smile Later,
He
and
was
Shauna.
in both those releases, and we were lucky enough to have him in the band for about a year.
And I'm really proud to say he's actually on the new Big Beat record, too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Dusty played with us on the new Big Beat record, and he's in a little
Thank you,
band.
Dusty.
He's in a little band called the Sonics. Now, if you guys,
I don't know. That's a far reach. I don't know if a lot of people know about the Sonics.
For those of you who don't know, yeah, he's doing
Incredible,
excellent.
that's
and
all.
He's made a fantastic new record with them, and like I said, you can't say enough great things about the guy. He really is
It's rad.
So amazing.
On top of,
I know.
Yes.
on top of being a fantastic musician, Dusty really is an awesome human being, and
Awesome.
He's got 23 years in sobriety. He's a guy that counsels folks who are in recovery, and he's fantastic. His wife is the drummer, and she plays in several groups. Her name is Ricky, and they've always helped our band, and I can't say enough great things about Dusty. And like Vicky said, when it came time to work on the new Big Beat record, it's like, well, who are we gonna call? Let's call Dusty. And Dusty sat with Vicky, and Vicky played him all the songs, and she got him all the material, and he just came in and delivered once again an astounding performance. I mean, he's a fantastic musician. I really can't say enough great things about the guy.
And now my nephew is the drummer. He's playing with the Big Beat right now, and he's like, "Wow, you know, I'm his aunt." And he's in the Vengeance. My nephew is the drummer in the Vengeance, but he's been sitting in with the Big Beat, and he's like, "God, I got some big shoes to fill."
Well, why don't we hear a few off that next release you did in 2011 with him on drums, Cry Now, Smile Later, the name of that release. Let's play We Turned Into a Lie off that album right now on Mad Matt's Radio Roundup. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We got Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld in the studio. And again, tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. till noon. And today we'll probably be going a little longer because we still have a lot of stuff to talk about and some great music to play. So right now, off that second release, Vicky and the Vengeance release, We Turned Into a Lie.
We turn into a lie. Nothing left to do but to say goodbye. You and I are through. There was a time when I needed you. There was a time when I thought you needed to. And now you're gone. And it feels so wrong. We turned into a lie. Nothing left to do but to say goodbye. You and I are through. There was a time when we were free. I think about the way things used to be. And now you're gone, and it feels so wrong. But I'll carry on. We turned into a lie. There was a time when I needed you. There was a time when I thought you needed to. And now you're gone, and it feels so wrong. When life goes by, sometimes it takes you by surprise. As time ticks by, you realize sometimes you can't hide the terror of a familiar voice that you long to hear. You wanna cry now and smile later. When eyes
Oh yeah, welcome back to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup here live out of Studio W. Today we are doing Vicky Tafoya we have in studio, and Matt Beld here talking about her work with the Redondos, the Big Beat, and Vicky and the Vengents, and you heard a few more off her release off of Cry Now Smile Later, that 2011 release. You heard We Turned Into a Lie, then you heard Cry Now Smile Later, and that last one right there, Not Your Little Girl.
Good afternoon, friends.
Ooh, yeah, and Matt, that was you singing on that track, right?
Yeah.
You're just doing a little background vocals right there on that. Look at that.
I was trying to compete.
There's no competition. One memory that I have to share that was awesome. One day when we were in the middle of writing this album, by the way, Matt is a fantastic songwriter.
She brings out the best of me, man. I mean, it's.
So you guys kind of create your own dynamic now, writing these songs and kind of putting them together. It created your own sound, and
it has definitely evolved. But for us, I think that's the fun part of it is how do we keep pushing this thing forward and pulling from the resources that we have while taking it somewhere new.
Right.
I think the hardest part of writing when I write with him is sometimes he'll show me a lick or a solo, and I'm like, well, I think you can do better than that. And like he'll be at the chalkboard all day with this, come back and show it to me, and I'm like, well, and vice versa. He'll be like, no, I think you can sing it a little better than this. And sometimes my husband will be sitting there and he's like, is he serious? They telling you could do it better than this? I said, yeah,
Well,
and I expect that.
You need that push, right?
I don't
as an artist,
for sure we do.
That, right?
For sure we need that push. Sometimes we want to choke each other, but I mean, in the end, if the song comes out good, it was worth it.
Well, but there's a song in that too, right?
Yeah, it helps because what really winds up happening is you really wind up keeping each other honest.
Right.
And there can't be any like fakery going on.
You don't want someone.
And we're not ever going to allow each other to phone it in, like know what I'm saying.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
It's all for getting the best. We're song people, so it's everything we do is for getting the best out of a song.
I remember in the middle of. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I remember one time in the middle of writing this album, he had asked me, "Would you show me how to sing a little more?" I said, okay, you don't ever ask me that. Because like 12 hours later, he's like, I'm hoarse. Can we stop?
Yeah, that was
just a specific, a specific time, but I'm just.
She's helped me a lot work on vocals and really
but I will, if you want to ask me that, you'll be here all day. Trust me.
Yeah, and she'll, she can really break it down for you, and she can really tell you, and that's what's been a big help to me is being mindful of diction, being mindful of timing. Being mindful of pitch, being mindful of lyrics. When we first started writing, I would come up with something, and it really is a give and take thing because she'll add to the music that I come with. I might have something kind of sketched out, and she'll say, "Well, right here, I feel like we need to do this, this, and this," and it'll be very much a musical thing that she's talking about that the band does.
Okay.
And then I will come sometimes and say, "Well, right here, I think that this segue needs to be a little smoother," or I might come with some lyrics for her. And she say, well, I like the way that you wrote line number 1 and line number 2, but line number 3 and number 4, we need to change that type of thing. And she's made me very mindful of...
Or the way a word sings. Yeah, like, that doesn't sing well if I say that.
Yeah, she'll tell me it's not very singable. Or you
better on written paper than when it actually gets verbalized.
And it really is something to be mindful about. In these 50s songs and these 60s songs, you really pay attention if you go back.
That's just me being a singer, you know what I mean?
But
like, that's not going to come out.
It's a very subliminal thing.
That's something a lot of people probably don't pay attention to. When
it isn't. And what I mean by subliminal is if you go back and you listen to these songs, and this is something that I've talked with Eddie Nichols about. It's something that I've talked with a lot of these guys that are really into the old music, and they've made this. There's things called standards. And a lot of people did versions of them in the 50s, but these songs that last, even the rock and roll songs that last, there's a lot of vowels in them. There's a lot of elongated A's and O's and I's and U's. And it's a subliminal thing. You don't really pay attention to it. Just something like simple like Be My Baby. Just the line Be My Baby is a very singable, catchy phrase. And that was done on purpose. It wasn't an arbitrary thing that wound up in a song. It was something that was crafted, and Vicky is really, as a singer, very mindful of those things, and she's helped me be more mindful of them in our songwriting together,
you know what's
in
funny?
our vocalizing
it's funny you mentioned
together.
Be My Baby. Because "Be My Baby" is hard to sing. Like those words, "Be my," that it's a little bit of a tough song. It seems so simple, but it isn't. It isn't simple.
And those are the best songs. The ones that come together in 5 or 10 minutes that are super simple. That those are the ones that stick with people. And like Vicky said, just because it's a simple sounding song doesn't mean it's easy to deliver.
Right.
One thing that I'm really proud about is the compliments that we've got from our songs when we're on tour. I remember one time we were on tour for 40 days, and all the shows we did, the number one compliment, besides them buying the actual merch, the one compliment that we always get, and I'm really proud of it, and thank you to all our fans for that, is they really like the stories in our songs. Did you guys write that song? Is that your song? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Because there's something to be said about lyrics versus the music instrument part of it, but when you combine both and you craft both well, then it sticks out more.
Sometimes when we finish a song too quick, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Well, and we all know
Let's step back and look at the story here.
We all know as record collectors too, because all three of us are record collectors, and we have all of our different favorite genres that we have and everything. But we all
ready
know.
For the vinyl ride.
Yeah, that'll be a new episode. We're gonna all bring in vinyl one day, and we're just gonna.
Well, and every artist I'm sure that comes in here and talks to you probably says something very similar. Is at the end of the day, when the box goes into the hole and you're dead and gone. That's all that's left is the songs.
Yeah.
And that's all that's left is the recorded version of the songs.
I'm always
and
worried
that's what
about
attracts us to our records and everything like that. So we want to have maybe
you want to leave that
maybe
behind.
that's a big goal.
I know once we're gone,
you're
like you say, once we're gone, we're gone. You can't take it with you. But I hope that
that's not true. I'm melting all my vinyl in my casket.
Oh, see that?
Which one?
I said I'm melting all my vinyl into my casket. So.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Let's just have a casket made out of vinyl. Look at us. Who can go deeper? I don't know. But, no, you know what? When I die, I hope somebody cool gets my records. That's all I can say.
Yeah, someone who appreciates it.
You try to craft cool songs that people hopefully will want to have around for a while. You know what I mean? I don't want something that sounds dated.
When we were in the Bay last time, there was a girl who had driven an hour in San Francisco, I don't know where from, but she had driven an hour to get there, and she was like, I have waited so long to meet you, and this song, and I just love the lyrics to this song, and oh man.
Yeah,
when that happens, you're just.
It was
like,
cool because we actually asked her, because we were kind of far away from home for us. I mean, it's the Bay Area, but this person that came and Vicky was talking to her a little bit at the merch booth, and I like to kind of grill people a little bit and interview them, like, how'd you find out about us?
Yeah, you kind of want to
know. And she was like, you know what? I heard you guys on Rodney on the Rock.
Speaking of Rodney,
let's get to that.
I heard you guys on Rodney on the Rock, and I liked your songs, and I saw that you guys were playing in the Bay Area, and I came out, and I got to say, we spent some time talking about Dusty and stuff, but that has been one relationship.
Yeah, bless him for that. Because he still plays you guys on a regular basis,
you,
and I'm sure that goes out to a lot of ears that wouldn't normally hear this style of music. And he's been doing that for years. Yeah, Sunday nights.
We are so grateful for him, and I will tell you why. Because not only is it fantastic to be played on the radio, not only is it fantastic to be played on K-Rock.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic
legendary
to be played by Rodney because it's like that is such a rite of passage.
He's such a rock and roll icon.
The amount of careers he's launched, and the amount of bands he played first, and man,
and he's still on the radio. His show's been on over 30 years, and there's. Who else can say
I've
that?
seen Rodney so many times in my life, and he's like, "Hey, what's happening? What's happening?"
So
throughout my life, and the way that we met up with him for Vengeance was
the Runaways premiere.
It was the Runaways premiere in 2009. I wanted to go see the Runaways premiere in Hollywood, and I won.
She entered 3 different contests
just because I wanted to win a ticket so bad to be there at the premiere. I've never been to a premiere. And that was my first, and we won.
How'd you win that, or what was it?
My husband couldn't go.
Online contest.
It was an online contest, and we were just seat fillers for the theater.
And I got to say this: the cool part about this was they had it up in Hollywood at that Cinerama Dome. And they even said on the website, just because you win a ticket
doesn't mean
it just guarantees you a spot in line, so it wasn't even like
there was about 300 or 400 people behind us, and I was like,
Vicky said, "Look, I'm telling you right now, we got to get up there, and we got to get up there early." And we got up there at noon. And do you know we stood there all day, and they let us in. And right after we got in, they put the velvet rope behind us, and we were the last people in.
So I told Matt, we were kind of bummed. We were excited, but we were bummed. Are we going to be able to sit together? Or who cares? Whatever.
You're in there.
And Joan Jett was there. Cherie was there. Rodney was there. Everybody was there. Lemmy was there.
But Vicky saw Rodney.
Pat Smear was there. Everybody.
Oh wow.
Vicky saw Rodney in the lobby, and she's like, "I'm going to make my move." We
You
had
have
the
to,
CDs
yeah.
with us.
Oh wait,
And-
let me tell you about the seats first. Right when we got there, we were the last two, and we were front row center, A1 and A2.
Oh, wow.
Right directly in the front. Go ahead.
And so Vicky said,
Here, I gave him a CD.
you gave him a CD, and
And he said, "I'm sorry, I'm not doing that right now. We're just here for the premiere."
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
"Wah wah,"
Oh.
And I said,
Is he supposed to- he's
he
supposed to take
"Just
music
send it
everywhere
to me."
he's at.
Yeah.
He's like, "Just send it to me," and then
but then us being us, we discovered that he was doing another show coming up like a couple weeks out in LA. He was doing a show with some groups, and we said, we're gonna go up again.
Yeah.
We did, and
we did, and we gave it to him,
we
and he was
walked in
happy to take it.
and Vicky,
And that was a Friday night. We gave it to him. On that Sunday, he actually played
Really?
Out of My Mind.
Wow.
Or The One You'll Never Know.
yeah. So it was really
Wow.
that, and it's just it's a relationship that we've always tried to take the time to nourish and stay in touch. We get an
Yeah.
invite
And then
to
there
his
was
birthday
that.
party
There was
every year, and
like a year
that's
after
great.
that, or so. There was an actual show that he did to introduce us to the
Oh,
world.
wow.
And
Yeah.
It was just fantastic.
Where was that at, or?
That was at
I
the
don't know
Cabana
that-
Club Cabana.
It's right behind Amoeba.
It's right behind
okay.
Amoeba.
Gotcha.
And,
He still hosts shows.
and
where
I
he-
remember when
Yeah,
he drove
that's-
up in his car, he goes, "You gonna sing that song, that my favorite song, Out of My Mind?" And I was like, "Oh my god."
But yeah, that's always
That
been
was-
That's
Yeah.
cool because as long as he's been around, he's still a fan of the music, which is
For
cool.
sure.
I'm sure he's still intrigued to hear new things and
One of our
discover new
songs,
bands.
He is,
Forever,
and he still
is,
looks for new bands all the time.
One of our songs, it's called Forever on the new. It's kind of eerie, kind of doo-woppy, kind of oldie sounding, creepy. His friend Kansas Bowling, who is a director, she directed a movie called BC Butcher. It's coming out this year, and the song Forever is actually going to be in the movie.
Oh wow, that's
So
great!
we're
Congratulations to
yes,
that. That's
yes,
great.
We're excited about that.
Cool. Well then, so you got that exposure. Any other nice milestones along the way that have happened, or moments that you're proud of?
There's several. I mean, throughout my entire career and throughout Vicky's entire career, and we've touched on that a lot today, is that we've been really blessed that we've gotten to play and meet a lot of our heroes. Sometimes that's if you're not rich or famous, that's a really big deal. And for us, we've gotten to be really good friends with the Sonics. We've gotten to meet and play with a lot of our heroes, and our band's kind of come full circle in a couple of ways. Like Vicky has said, it's like we've been a band going on 8 years. We've got 2 full lengths. We've got an EP.
Vinyl,
we've got a single.
cassette.
And now Vinny Malachi, our old bass player, who did a lot of time in the big beat as well, he moved back east. He's from Providence, Rhode Island. He moved back there. And he's got a new group back there and stuff, and he's doing his thing. But after he left our band, my brother now plays bass with us.
Right.
So that's like kind of become a family affair,
Yeah.
and Vicky's nephew's on drums. So it's really cool to see the evolution of this band, and anybody who's in here will tell you, it's hard to keep a band together.
Yes.
But
we won't stop ever. We just won't.
It's,
I will never stop.
But it seems
You're
like
gonna
you
have to
guys
kill me
kind of
to
have
stop
the
me.
core here of
Sure.
Yeah,
especially for the Vengeance stuff, the writing, the music.
blessed.
You guys have that. I don't know how it was on the Big Beat album, if it was the same way, but
Well,
you guys have that core.
The new songs you're gonna play.
She has a core of that band too, which is primarily her and Vinny. I've chimed in on a few things. We were talking about that earlier a little bit on the break. I mean, that wasn't an easy assimilation for me to make, because
Right.
I wanted to make sure that once what happened was in 2010, Vicky's had a fill-in guitar player at the time, and he wasn't able to make a show, and she said, well, hey, can you help me out on this? It was a New Year's Eve show.
I think
opening for
Matt
Royal Crown
learned like
Review.
28 songs in a day.
Wow.
She goes, can you come in and play this Royal Crown Review show with us?
I was there at the
New
Fox
Year-
and
yeah, New
Pomona.
Year's
Yeah,
Eve.
that was a great show.
That was my first show.
Wow. I
And,
didn't know that.
And so she said, can you come in and play on that? And it just wound up because of our connection at the time. She said, well, do you just want to continue to do the big beat full time? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. And, great to play with Vinny again. But I always tried to be really mindful of the dynamic that they had as a group, because it really is Vicky's vision and her being able to implement all of the different styles and stuff that she's found over the years. And I never wanted to step on the vision that her and Vince had for that band, because they are co-writers in that
Right.
band. And I was really fortunate that when they brought me into the fold, just knowing Vinny for 20 years and knowing Vicky for as long as I have, they were both very receptible. Like, you know what, if you have 2 cents, put it in. If you think that something can be
that's
changed
great.
or be
Or an
made
arrangement
better,
of some sort.
and that's kind of where
He's actually helped us. Like a few of the songs were not complete, And he actually has helped us arrange and complete the songs.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
the
he's
three,
fantastic.
The three new
You are
originals.
magic that way.
The three new originals on this record. Thank you, by the way. The three new originals on this record have been their concepts for years and years and years. In fact, the song "Come In Late," which I think we're going to get to.
Yeah, we'll play that after.
Vince has had that riff.
The riff
for
at the beginning.
literally 20
yeah,
years.
it's so catchy. I love
And
it.
Vicky had
just
a melody
wrote a
with
song,
that,
yeah,
but where I
around-
came into play was I helped him write like the pre-chorus, and I wrote the chorus of the song because we needed a second part.
Yeah.
But Love That Man of Mine and Never Let Go, the other two originals on there, I just served way more in an arrangement capacity.
Gotcha.
But Come In Late, I probably had the most to do with because I contributed lyrically and
Sure.
musically to that one. But like I said, they're already a force unto themselves, and I wanted to be really mindful.
And like Volume
of
2,
that.
I can't wait to work on Volume
Yeah.
2. They're more originals.
Yeah, we got some really cool, like more R&B-ish kind of stuff coming.
Cool.
Which is really cool.
Well, let's before we get into that new album, we still have one last the little "Used to Be My Baby" EP from Vicky and the
Okay,
Vengeance.
Oh, yeah, man,
Let's
that's
play.
something we're real proud of.
Yeah, let's play.
This is our new single, and it is on Burger Records.
Oh, great! And where can people get this as well? CD Baby as
CD
well.
Baby.
Okay.
It's all over. It's iTunes,
Amazon,
Okay.
Burger.
Yeah, go grab yourself a copy. Again, support the band. Again, in studio, we have Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld here on Mad Matt's Radio Roundup today. Again, thanks everybody for listening today. We're running a little over because we still have more stuff to get to, so stay tuned in. We still have their great newest release, Never Let Go Volume 1, that we're going to get to. But right now, off this latest EP, we're going to play the song Why.
Why do you do me this way? Why do you lead my heart astray? I can see the devil in your eyes when you start to hypnotize, fooling around with my heart. When I call you on the phone, I can tell you're not alone. That's when the teardrops start. You're going down. Always running around with
Welcome back to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup today, live out of Studio W. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in today. It's always good seeing so many friends are listening and hearing that you're listening out there. So thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for always tuning in and giving us support. Again, thanks to Vicky Tafoya and Matt Beld for being in studio today and coming in studio talking about all their music from the Redondos, Vicky and the Vengents, and Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat. And you heard two songs right there again by Vicky and the Vengents, starting out with Why, and they had George San Martin from Vicky and the Big Beat playing sax on that. And the last song right there, Almost There, which I hear is a song about writing songs. Is that right, Vicky?
Yeah, it is about writing songs. One time I was going to the restroom, and I told Matt, we're almost there, and we were frustrated. We couldn't write the song. We couldn't finish it, and I said, we're almost there. And he's all, here, take the pad and pencil with you and to the restroom. And when I came out, the song was done. Yes, and just like if you listen to the words to the song, that's exactly what happened.
We were just talking to you about the break, about kind of collaborating on the new Big Beat stuff, and what a challenge it's been and how fun it's been. And it's we're really proud of the new record. You know, we kind of split it into two different releases. It's a volume 1
so
and a
volume 1
2.
just came out.
And we kind of did it as two separate EPs for a multitude of different reasons. But we're really excited about the three originals that we have on there. And then Vicky chose 3 cover tunes that she's doing on there. And we're
Had
really
to get
excited.
the doo-wop in there.
Yeah, we're really
it's a
excited
good
to
mix.
share that with everybody, man.
So how did that lead to that? So you did the Vicky and the Vengeance stuff, and then how'd the conversation start about putting a new Big Beat album out, or it been going on for a while?
I had the songs.
For a long while.
I had 2 of the songs for a long time, and then in between, like you say, you know, the Vengeance play more than the Big Beat. I don't know why that is. It just happens that way sometimes, and then sometimes the Big Beat plays more shows than the Vengeance.
Yeah.
But I had wanted to put this out because it's been so long, and a lot of my fans are always asking, why isn't she putting anything out? You know, it does cost money. And but we finally got this one out, and we have a volume 2 coming out as well. And that will have probably a little bit more R&B, a little more tougher.
But she knew that she wanted to hold out for original material. You know,
my only sadness is it wasn't a full length.
Right.
You know, but that takes time too in the studio, and that costs money.
She wanted to make sure that she wrote the songs and had on this new release. She wanted to definitely have original material that she had written. So
and what was the idea going into the new? Any sort of? Did you kind of have an idea of how you wanted it to be?
I just
what
wanted
kind
it
of
more
sound
fuller. You know, I wanted more full sound. Like I said, if I could have 4 saxophone players, 2 drummers, you know, piano. If I could have that, I would have it.
I'm sure that's just going to be the next link in the chain where you know what I mean.
And where do you guys record this, or?
At the Racket Room in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we recorded it with our friend Jim Monroe. He's done the last couple of Vengeance releases as well, and the
Big Beat for him was a little bit of a challenge because he had even suggested us for us to go somewhere else.
Oh,
you know, he's like, I don't know if I can handle.
Oh, no.
You know, but he did. He
Jim
did
got
just
a great
fine.
sound, and
I like the sound.
And I'm
on
very
the record.
picky. Well, not picky, but just like very mouthy when I'm in the, you know. And I try to, you know, we're all adults here, you know. Let's not be afraid.
But you know what you want,
talk
and you're
not be
paying
afraid
for
to
it,
show
so you want to, yeah.
or
And it really
expand
was.
ourselves a
It
little
really
bit.
was Vicky's show in the way that, like, you know, she. I don't know what her feeling on if we delivered or not, but we tried to really take into consideration everything that she was saying and everything that she wanted, and that's always been my thing. Is it's like I said, I wanted to be very mindful of the aesthetic of her band and not overplay or have things be too loud or raucous on my end, and just really
especially
try to
with Big Beat. I know it's not the Vengeance,
Right.
but believe me,
And was
my
that
Big Beat, I always wanted to have a big sound.
Was that hard going back between the two, going from Vengeance stuff back to Big
no,
Beat
never,
stuff?
never
or
hard.
is
It's
it
just something that's in
transition
me.
back
It's in
into-
my DNA. That
It's not hard for her, I don't think. For me, it takes a little bit more control.
different hat on.
Consciousness.
Yeah, one thing, I'm not as knowledgeable on the performance of the other kind of like the 50s R&B and all that stuff. So that's really been like a real learning curve for me. But I want to do that. I want to grow as a musician. I want to try to figure things out.
And you know, we're always learning every day. Even as old as I am, you know, I'm always learning in the music business, in songwriting. Sometimes he'll show me something that's just so simple, but man, how come we didn't do that before?
Yeah.
You know, or and vice versa, you know.
But I tried to be really mindful of that as far as what I played, and also in the production. Another thing that happened on this record was Vicky brought back a former member of the group named Christian Kessler, who played upright bass with her. He was actually
Okay,
on the
that was my
first release.
question. Is who? Yeah.
Yeah, and he returned on this one, and him and Dusty really made a great
Connection.
rhythm section.
Yeah.
Christian plays upright bass, and I think that Jim got a really fantastic upright. It's not an easy, for those of you who don't know, it's not an easy instrument to play. It's not an easy instrument to record. They go out of tune a lot. It's very hard to mic
Christian's
them up.
bass is amazing.
And Christian has a really nice feel. He's a great player. He has a really nice instrument, and Jimmy, I think, did a really good job micing it up and sounding.
Chris really does his homework. He really
Chris
knows
does,
what I
and
want.
Chris, Vicky really.
And he's got a heavy hand. I like that.
Vicky made sure that she set us all down, and we had extensive powwows on. These are the songs. This is what I'm going for here. This is what I'm going for there. And me and George got together. Our sax player, George San Martin. We got together at my house several times because we really just wanted to make sure that it was all worked out, because we're the big beat.
Obviously with Dusty, he needs no.
Yeah, the big beat
he's just amazing.
The big beat is a live entity, and if you're not playing with those same folks all the time, it's always going to be something that you're mindful of in the studio. And we wanted to make sure that everything that we wanted to do on this record, you
wanted to work it all out before going in the studio to make sure that everything.
We wanted to try to make sure that we gave Vicky our best, because I know that she knows us and she trusts us, and it's like, oh well, they're members of the band, or if it's Dusty, he's known us forever. But we also wanted to make sure
the whip cracker. I just want to talk with them.
Right.
I never want to be that guy.
Hey, but we wanted to make sure that we tried to do our best.
They'll know by my eyebrow or just in the
just by a look.
They're like, oh man, I think we better do that again.
So who rounded out the full band? So it's
on the record. It is Vicky Tafoya, myself, Vince Maldonado on rhythm guitar. Like I said, co-songwriter and co-arranger of the whole thing. It really is Vince and Vicky's band. George San Martin on saxophone. George is great. He plays with a lot of other groups as well, but we were lucky to have him full-time in this group, and the rhythm section was rounded out by Christian Kessler on the upright bass and Dusty Watson on drums. Yes. And that is... Vicky always likes to say that is the big beat on this release.
Yeah.
On the next release, we might incorporate different things.
Right.
We just haven't found a permanent drummer yet, just because we haven't.
And was there any specifics behind the choosing of covers you did on this
The
EP?
choosing of covers, I let him pick one, and I picked one. But
who picked what?
He picked Who Cares About Love.
Okay.
And I picked Promise to Remember by Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
The sixth song has got the most interesting story of any songs on the record, and that song's story actually started in the early 90s.
At the Doo-Wop Society.
Really?
Yeah.
When I met everybody, there was a gentleman named Dave Antrell who used to write songs in the 50s and 60s for different bands. He's a songwriter. And I did meet him at the show at the Universal Amphitheater.
Okay. Yeah.
And one day we went to his house. They were having like an after party, a before and after party from that show.
Now, Dave was like a singer-songwriter who actually played in some
piano.
of the backup.
Oh, okay.
And
he played in some of the backup bands for the
doo-wop
For the
shows.
doo-wop
Okay.
shows. And I went there, and he had a white piano, and he's like, come sit by me. I wrote a song for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So when I got there, he had written a song in front of everybody. He's scratching. No, you don't want to say that. So he's like,
He was a very talented.
He's writing the little everything down and sitting me down with the piano. And so the song, Boy with the Angel Eyes, he actually wrote that song.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's passed, I think in the mid-2000s he passed.
Oh.
But that's his song. He says he wrote it for me, but I say that he wrote it,
Right.
That's not my song.
That's another
but
thing.
But it's a pleasure.
That's great.
Another thing that we've been blessed with.
It's very doo-woppy.
Yeah.
He wrote another one too, but I can't remember how it goes exactly. But I do remember some of it.
The thing that we've been blessed with is that in addition to meeting some of these actual original artists, being record collectors,
and a lot of them know Dave.
We've come to know a lot of the original Ground Zero record collectors in the hobby.
Right.
All the doo-woppers,
Dave
all the
Antrell
collectors.
was a huge collector, and he was a guy from Southern California.
And when I tell people I've gone in his closet, the walk-in closet where there was nothing but 78s, they're like, "You've been in there?" I'm like, "Yes, I did. I got in there."
We came to meet a gentleman a couple years ago by the name of Bob Volturno, who was really a legend in the hobby, and he actually lived in Riverside under my nose for like 25, 30 years. He lived by Van Buren Drive-In. And his main
most insane collection
was the main parts of his collection were girl groups and doo-wop.
Okay.
And when we met him, we would go to his house and he would tell us stories. And he actually was a good friend of Dave Antrell's.
We lost him last year,
and he passed last year.
And he knew Dave.
And he knew Dave.
Wow.
And Vicky, we were hanging out in the record room, and Vicky said, "Bob, I want to play this song, Boy with the Angel Eyes." Dave Ventrell wrote it for me.
He was like, wait a minute.
And she performed it for him, and he said, man, you got to put that on the next release. That's such a fantastic
and it's actually
song.
Dedicated
it's
to
actually
Bob.
dedicated to Bob.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, he was an integral part in that process for sure.
Wow.
That song to me has not maybe the most meaning, but it definitely has the longest, most interesting story because Vicky's waited all that time to finally record
Wow,
it.
and now it's on. Well, that's a good stepping point, I think.
Yeah.
Why don't we play that as the
Go
first
ahead,
track
yeah.
You got it.
off the very new latest release by Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat? Just came out in December or
Yep, brand new, hot off the
So
presses.
brand new, Never Let Go, Volume 1. Go grab yourself a copy on CD Baby or at a live show of theirs. Let's play that track they're talking about right now, Boy with the Angel Eyes.
Wish I weren't so lonely. Wish I weren't so shy. Just cherish me, baby, and never, never let go. My love for you, baby, will never let go. It shines all so brightly, my heart's all aglow. Just cherish me, baby, and never, never let go. So close to my heart, darling, man, can't you see? You're all that I hear and you're all that I see. Just cherish me, baby, and never, never let go. And when I hold you tight, it always feels so right. Your love is what I crave. Here in my heart you stay, so close both night and day. So darling, never let go. So remember, my darling, I love you so. Just cherish me, baby, and never let go. My love for you, baby, will never, never let go. And when I hold you tight, it always feels so right. Your love is what I crave. Here in my heart you stay, so close both night and day. So darling, never let go. My love for you, baby, will never let go. It shines all so brightly, my heart's all aglow. Just cherish me, baby, and never, never let go. My love for you, baby, will never let go. It shines all so brightly, my heart's all aglow. Just cherish me, baby, and never, never let go. Never let go. Never let go. Never let go.
Never Let Go right there off that latest album by Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat, Never Let Go Volume 1. What a great way to start that album with that song right there. So much energy. I love the whole sound you have in that song. And right before that, you heard Boy with the Angel Eyes. Everybody needs to go out there and buy this EP because it's 6 great songs. No filler, all killer. Great CD.
Aw, thank you.
And I've loved listening to it since you gave it to me last week and been listening to it over and over again. That starting track's one of my favorite along with the next one we're going to play in a little while. But let's get back to that album. So,
Okay.
yeah, 2 great tracks. So, created the album. You're doing Volume 1. You're going to do, you said Volume 2 soon.
This
so.
year, yes.
Okay,
Volume
great.
2 will be coming.
There'll be more originals on that. We're kind of crafting those right now. Vicky's
And
got
probably
some,
a little bit more,
some ideas.
little more R&B.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know these are originals, but I have some more originals. But like I said, my only regret is that I wish it would have been a full length. But I know people are talking right now. You know, why isn't it a full length?
Well,
you know,
there
she's
might be-
waited so long.
It might be a
just
little,
takes time, you know.
It might
and
be
money.
a little. You know, this one there's 6. There might be 8 on the next one. You know,
Right.
because she has a song that she's had forever. It's called Boogeyman.
Okay.
And it's really like it's similar to the originals in this way that it has a very kind of noirish 40s kind of thing, but we're really trying to work hard on getting the instrumentation down on that one because it's a real sparse track.
It's going to be a tough arrangement,
And
I think.
it's going to be a tough arrangement, but she's had this song forever, and it's called Boogeyman. It's a great tune. We just kind of came up with a couple other ideas the other day when I was at their house. And she's always worked on originals, and that's the fun is figuring out what covers to do. You know, she doesn't want to come out there and do Hound Dog and some of these songs
Right.
because they've just been done. You know what I mean? So she really tries to dig. She tries to dig.
Yeah,
deep.
you want to get something that
Yeah, she tries to dig
and
deep
something
for the,
you want that you're proud to do, or something that sticks out to you?
Well,
and
she
that you're
tries to dig
passionate
deep
about?
for the covers that maybe
I'm a singer.
maybe
a
you
lot
can
of
turn
people,
somebody on to the song too.
A lot of people, why don't I do like the growling songs or anything? I don't think that I'm good at growling. I'm a singer. This is the way I do. Sometimes it's too pretty, too sweet for people. Sometimes it's just right. Sometimes they like it. Sometimes. But a lot of people always want me to sing Angel Baby.
Yeah, that seems to be.
I'm so over it. I love that song. No disrespect to that song. I've sung it my whole life. But I want to sing other things,
Well, and you
people
have,
always shout that one out.
a great
But,
new album to sing.
if I'm in the mood and if I can do it that day, I'll do it. Just to be the good guy.
But she always with respect to why things take a little while. You want to get it right.
I want it great. I want it big. I want it clean. And
I really dig the sound of this new album.
And I figured too,
everything sounds full and bright.
We start with great
cool.
players.
We tried
if you
to not-
start with something good, you're going to end up with something great.
With regards to the production, you said we were trying to go like you said, like something like she says the words like full and big and stuff, and she wants that kind of stuff.
And sometimes they don't know what I mean.
Well,
and
we definitely
I don't know
were
how
not going for and I think that this was something that Vicky wanted to be mindful of. It's like, whereas she likes to pay tribute to some of these older songs, I mean, we did not definitely. We wanted to make a modern album.
Right.
We didn't want to make something that was, really rooted in the actual production and a specific copy of
Right.
older stuff. She wants to really work hard to bring it into a new light. You know what I mean? Into like the modern times, and hopefully we did that. That's all you can really strive to do. And I think everybody involved did a great job. My personal opinion, I think Vicky sounds fantastic. I think Jim Monroe did a great job.
The whole band really melds great together on all these tracks, and I really like the mix of songs you did too, doing an upbeat one like that, Never Let Go, and then some of the slower,
She's
songs,
really known
and
for ballads,
then it, like Coming Late, the next track we're gonna play. I really dug that, just a new styling for you. How'd that work, that track, or how'd that get written, and the style that you did that in?
Vince has had that riff for 20 years.
Yeah,
man.
well, he had that riff, and I wrote a story, which is you'll hear the story when you hear it.
It's about coming in late.
It's about coming in late, and you know why he's coming in late. But this kind of song is the kind like I feel like this song, Coming Late. I feel like it's such a big thing of what I've always tried to do. Like everybody knows when I do oldies or when I do doo-wop songs, those are not my songs, but I try to sing them as if they are my songs.
Right.
And you just know that's Vicky, that's her. And I will always have a reverence for the doo-wop songs and all the oldie songs, because that's part of who I am. But these songs, I feel like, really are the big beat. This is what they sound like. This song, Coming Late.
This is your sound.
This is our sound.
And
we finally got it.
And Vicky writes a lot for, like a lot of writers do, and she's very real in that way. Vicky writes a lot from like life experience, and sometimes, people think if you're a songwriter, well, you're writing a song every day. You have to do some living,
right,
and have some more experiences.
I know those of you artists out there, you know what I'm talking about when we talk about the fill-in songs.
Well,
and that's probably why I didn't make the full length, because the other songs are not ready. I don't feel like I can write fast enough, and maybe that's just
but sometimes you have
to an old maid writing these songs.
Sometimes you have to get your thoughts together, and she'll have what it is she'll, like a lot of artists, she'll have an idea.
But I just want quality. I want it to be good.
Right.
I want because there's other songs on other albums of other bands. With the fill-in songs, I don't want any fill-in songs. I want them to be good. I want them to be great. I want you to see that I took time working on them. So this Coming Late, that definitely is the big beat sound.
You have a thought or an idea. Sometimes it takes a little bit to come into fruition. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I took a long time to put something else out.
No, but
I have been doing other things.
Right. It's not like you weren't doing other things. You were touring like crazy, and you put out 3 albums with the Vengents and did all these other projects in between. So it's not like
I always feel like I didn't do too much with the big beat, but it is my baby.
But it's kind of cool when you think about it. You've come full circle back to the big beat now.
And if you look at her, like you said, her timeline, she has something new out in some way, shape, or form about every 2 years. You know what I mean? It's either Big Beat, then the Redondos came out, then we started working on Vengents stuff. Now we're doing a new Big Beat release, and there's going to be another Big Beat release this year.
We're also writing again for Vengeance.
So when's the show coming where it's Vengeance, Big Beat, and Redondos? And
there was only one show.
That has actually happened.
That's happened only once, and I'll never do it again. Because they saved Redondos to the end of the show.
No.
Yeah,
and I was really hoarse, shot. All the songs are so high.
The Big Beat and the Vengeance played One of the
Iron.
Ink and Iron.
Okay, yeah.
And then another gig we did down at the beach. It was another big, not a festival show, but it was a long show.
was like
she
a
had 6 or
benefit
8,
or something,
10, 6 or 8, 10 bands.
Wow.
And we did
3 of them were
Redondo's,
Big Beat,
and that was
that was tough. Well, the thing is that the hair that I have for Vengeance, the hairstyle that I wear for Vengeance, it calls for a lot of teasing, and then the Big Beat hair is a little bit more smoother and curls and. The show, it was a nightmare at Ink and Iron. The Vengeance went on first on the main stage outside. The Big Beat played inside. So I had to get a run off the stage, comb my hair, smooth it out, and then curl my hair to go back inside. And I was running, and I'm sure I was a little tipsy. Somebody's got that on video, I'm sure. Anyways, that was not a good day. But I mean, it was positive, you know.
But we'll have another new thing out this year too, which will be, like you said, that's like a back-to-backer for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have travel plans and stuff. We're lucky. We're going to do the Lone Star Roundup
in Texas,
right? In Texas,
yeah.
and that's in April. And then Vicky got invited back to the Rhythm Riot, and the whole band gets to go this time.
England,
so that'll be in England. So we have some travel plans this year and everything. And
it's good to hear. Good to hear people are booking you and you're out there on those major festivals and getting out there.
And next month, I think we're going back up to the Bay for a week to go do shows up north. Can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
be nice weather up there.
We like to work, man. We would. Her and I would play a show every day if we could. We would play 360. We'd play on my birthday, Jesus' birthday, her birthday.
That's one thing, though. I've never had a problem with, it's Christmas, so I'd rather be on stage. I'd rather be on stage at Christmas than open gifts. Unless it was like a really cool doo-wop record. Then,
You just get that on stage.
You just get it on stage.
Yeah,
like
that'll be the
Easter,
cover for the night, right?
Christmas,
Pay with
whatever.
the 45.
I know people have... how can you work on that day? But I don't care.
Well, like
I'd rather be on stage.
Yeah, we were saying, you have to have jobs in order to be able to do this. But we definitely still are trying to make this our job. You know what I mean? We would like to do this all day, every day if we could, man.
I think we should have like a doo-wop record party. And I don't know. I don't have much parties, and I don't go to many parties. But
make it happen, Matt.
Yeah, make it happen.
All right, I'll get one of my many projects.
I say we have like a not a DJ off, but like some kind of record sharing. I don't know.
That's always fun.
Kind of like slap. Well, when we did the Vengeance, the last show up north, they actually had a record swap meet during the show, which was fantastic. So yeah.
Cool. Well, why don't we play that next track off of the Never Let Go, Volume 1. This is one of my favorites off this album. I hope everyone enjoys as much as I do. Come In Late, off the new Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat album. Go buy yourself a copy today. Get it now so you can own this and play it as many times as you want. Come In Late.
I know you're messing around with your no good ways and your tired lies. The truth's come undone in your eyes. It's in your head that I'm real dumb. The truth of it is that unlike some, I'm on to you, baby, and you're just no good. You're foul and it's out, yeah, it's understood. Ooh, it's understood. Ooh, you're just no good. I cared for you, baby, both night and day, but you just couldn't live your life that way. You blew out the torch that I held for you. It's all over now, baby, 'cause we're through. When you used to hold me tight, you made me feel so safe inside. Crying time has got me once again. I don't know who you are. I'm wishing on a star that we could the stars.
I count the stars.
Boy, what a sweet, sweet song that is, and a great way to end the songs off that album right there. Who Cares About Love? And right before that, you heard Coming Late off that latest Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat album, just released, Never Let Go, Volume 1. Who was all singing backup in that? Who Cares About Love? So
that
people
was
know.
Eddie Nichols, Jimmy Jamali from the Redondos, and they didn't have the fourth come in that day. So Matt, right here, Matt sang the fourth.
There we go. Cool, man.
And me.
Yeah. What a great album that is. Again, everybody, make sure and
That's me
pick up a
doing
copy.
Well, somewhere in there.
Grab yourself a copy and support the band. And if people want to find about future shows or updates or anything, where should they go to get info about
They can go to my page. We don't have the fan page up yet.
.com's coming.
The .com is coming this year for sure. They can just go to Facebook. That would be fine.
Search Vicky Tafoya, right? So,
yes.
Okay, there you go. And hopefully this will be put up very soon on YouTube, so you can listen to it again and share with all your friends. And past episodes are on YouTube as well. Just search Mad Matt's Radio Roundup. Again, this is Mad Matt's Radio Roundup, live out of Studio W, today and every Thursday from 10 a.m. till noon, and sometimes longer when we have great guests in studio. Thanks again so much for coming in,
Thank
Vicky
you, Matt,
Tafoya
for
and Matt
having
Beld.
us.
Thank you for having us, man.
And so people have Volume 2 to look forward to.
Yes.
We talked a little bit that, but let's just get a few more questions. Aside from, now that we've covered all your music, I just have a few other things. So if you had any sort of advice to give to new artists or bands out there starting today, maybe getting into the scene, what would you've been around a while now, what would you give to them for people trying to form a band or get into the music scene? Or
Don't do it.
I knew you were going to say something
Don't
like
start
that.
a band.
No, just do it. Don't let anything get in your way, and most of all, don't let yourself get in your own way. Just be true, be honest, and have fun while you do it. Because a lot of people don't have fun and they're bored and they got those filler songs. If you're gonna do a filler song, make sure it's a cover that you love.
Right.
But no, I think that's it. Just be honest with yourself and be true to what you love. Because if you love it, you'll always do it. Nothing's worse than having to sing songs that you don't like, or just to be bored with it, just because you want to be in the scene. Just do it. Love it.
And what do you think about studying the music as far as, the best way? I know I talked to a lot of people who've been doing this a while, and I think a lot of them, one of the key things I notice is that they have a firm appreciation, or have listened to tons of music, or have a firm base of different stylings. Would you suggest maybe getting to find some of those older records, listening to more styles?
Well, there's stuff there's stuff that I personally just don't listen to, just because I don't. Like you were talking about ska, like I don't really listen to ska. I mean, I can appreciate the work that's gone into it. Like the ska from the 50s and the 40s, that stuff is great.
Yeah.
But then there's later ska that it's just not my thing. Like people are like, there's a lot of people who have come in my life and like, why don't you do any rockabilly songs? And I don't know. I just don't think that that's for me. That I do this better.
Well, I think that also too,
but there's enough people who cover rockabilly stuff, and they do it well.
But yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I think that people should dig, because I think that this stuff is a journey. It's not a destination. You know what I mean? It's not like.
Clearly, I have 3 different bands that we covered right now.
You don't cut the line and learn everything that you want to learn in 6 months, and then spend the next 30 years doing it. Because what fun would that be? I mean, we want to learn and we want to unearth.
You're always finding new things,
and
right?
You're
or hearing
always
new things
learning
and grasping
every
from
day.
that.
And so many things you can learn. Like Vicky says, like you can learn something from this style of music, and then you can learn something else from this style of music, or different singers, or different players. That's what it is. To me, it's
and everybody, I'm sure,
Yeah.
everybody, we're lovers of music first.
Right. That's key, right? Yeah, it's
that
not just being
key.
in a band; it's loving the music and then creating from what you love.
If we weren't,
it is the hardest thing to do to create out of nothing.
If we weren't in a band, we'd still be fans of music,
and we'd still be in the music business somehow.
Sure.
But for now, I'm in the band. All 3.
Speaking of that, fans, are there any current bands that you're hot to, or like, or that seen anything recently, or you can go, this is kind of it piqued your interest,
like
or,
new bands?
Yeah, maybe even in the last 10 years in the scene.
Oh, probably. I want to go see the Muffs. By the way, I want to go see the Muffs at the Echoplex.
Okay.
That's what I want to go see for sure.
For me, the older I get, I become way more of a fan of songs.
Right.
And then I find out who the artist is later.
I want to say this because I know we probably wouldn't say this normally, like if we were interviewed, but there are little things and little nuances, like you were saying, like in ABBA songs, beautiful. Agnetha, the lead singer of, the blonde girl from ABBA, amazing, incredible. I wish I had that voice. I always, even like ELO, I was listening to an ELO song this morning, just the vocals with Jeff Lynne.
You can't beat that.
You cannot beat it.
The musicianship behind those songs is pretty mind-blowing.
Fantastic.
And it's weird. It's like the when people say, is there any new bands that you're listening to? It's like, I'm listening to the new records of the old bands that I've listened to for 25 years. Like the new Sonics record is great.
Amazing.
Because it's fantastic songs. When I go to Viva Las Vegas and places like that, because I tend to not, I usually don't go to these things unless I play them.
Right.
Like I never went to the Warped Tour until I played there. I never went to Viva Las Vegas until I played there. But I'm always constantly on the lookout for who's new, who's doing this thing, who's got these cool new songs. And, I always try to keep my ear to the ground, man. And like I said, I always find myself trying to go forwards and going backwards at the same time.
Right.
And of course, we're always at the record swap meet discovering new goodies or finding something that.
And even though it's not new, it's new to me.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a cool thing.
I still say we should have like a record hop. Or not just DJs playing, but other bands, like maybe a jam session or something. I want to have a hairdo party, somebody, please.
When I was in Texas, when we were in Texas in
yet.
December, I heard the new Belfurious album.
Oh, yeah. The Working Man's Belfurious. That's
I thought that was
We're actually playing, we're on the bill with them. We're together on the bill at the Rhythm Riot.
Yeah.
It was kind of like alternative
Rhythm
country.
Shakers also.
It was kind of like alternative country meets
rockabilly. Blend of
rockabilly.
Music.
Definitely some Everly Brothers and some Beatles harmonies in there. And it's like, I like what that gentleman does because it's, again, kind of a melting pot all the styles, and I like that he's not afraid to incorporate that into...
Where certain bands, would be frowned upon.
I like,
but they've managed to get it to the mass where people are enjoying it that maybe wouldn't normally.
What about you? What music do you like that's newer?
Oh, I listen to everything.
But who should we check out?
Johnny Paycheck. He's 6 foot down, but he's still putting out new bands. Yeah, I mean, there's all the people I book. I mean, there's the normal standards. You know, you have like I talked about the Bell Furies. Cool. I really like Jeff West. You know, former Flavor. He's started a new band, Jeff West and the Whitwoods. Very influenced by '60s stuff as well.
Oh, really, cool.
Really great harmonies, vocals. Very great. Oh, his songwriting on these new songs he's putting out is great. So
cool.
If you get a chance to check that out, he plays little local shows and stuff from time to time. So
I know it might. I know it probably came out last year or the year before, but I do back the new Beach Boys. Believe me. Still got it. Still there.
I need to check that out. I haven't heard that yet.
We discover a lot of stuff through Rodney too, because he'll play something, and
there is some interesting stuff on there. The nights, once in a while, I'll be driving back late Sunday night, and I'll hear that, and I go, "Oh, what is this?" And I kind of look it up or Shazam it.
The Best Coast record a lot. I do too. I think it's their first release that they put out. That's really, really cool. We always try.
They also put a Christmas song out. I got to play it for you later.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we always try to be on the lookout for new groups and stuff. I wish I was a little bit more hip, but I just
I really would love though to I had mentioned this to Vinny and Matt. I'd love to put out some kind of 40s vibe, just full blown big band, so any of you big banders out there
Eddie,
who want to collaborate,
any trombone sections, come on down.
But I absolutely would love to do that because that's something that I would love to do. My mother has always wanted me to do that, a big band. Some kind of big band, big sounding something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's really.
But I haven't done that yet, so I would love to do that.
Oh, that's another. Well, kind of similar to that, but I don't know if Dave Stuckey. He has his Hot House Gang now. Sure. He just put out a new CD that's pretty good like that too.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll have to
cool.
check
that out.
40s influence kind of
Yep, definitely. Yeah, has that sort of horn section and sounds like that and old jazzy time stuff. Yeah, Dave Stuckey's Hot House Gang. That's a great new album too. I listened to that a few months ago. Pretty good. So I check that out too if you're into that sort of stuff. So, and then let's go back away. Well, we've got time.
Okay.
So but just thinking about again the heaviness of all those original guys you got to be around during the doo-wop days. What were any interesting stories from times you met some of those guys?
Goodness.
Hold on, people. We're here for another 2 hours. Or should this be a separate interview? I'm just kidding. I didn't get to meet a lot of those guys.
Sleeping bag right now.
Oh shit! Wow. Where do I begin? Well, meeting Jimmy Merchant was like one of the main. Oh my god!
I have to interject a quick milestone.
Okay.
You had asked earlier about milestones as far as the group goes, and this question that you just asked made me think of it. About a year and a half ago, we had the honor of playing with and meeting Ronnie Spector.
Oh my god! I had met her a couple times before, but
so she said Jimmy Merchant, and it just took me back to Frankie Lyman. And then when we were back east, another milestone is that when we went back east, I think it was 2 tours ago, or no, we just went for a record swap meet. Me and Vicky were lucky enough to visit Frankie Lyman's grave.
My god, that had to be pretty.
That's like hollowed ground.
We sang Cher by the Teenagers.
Yeah, meeting and playing with Ronnie Spector, that was a big
and giving
deal.
Ronnie Spector a Vengeance record.
Oh, that's cool.
And Matt signed it. She signed our records, "Baby I Love You," and then Matt put on the Vengeance record to her, "Baby I Love You Too." Which was so cool.
And I have a picture of both.
I actually have a picture of her.
That's cool.
But so back to the early days. So people that you met. I know you met Louis Lyman.
Louis Lyman. I met Harvey Fuqua, the Penguins, Don and Dewey, Kenny Vance, Zola Taylor. God, are your feet hurting from all the name dropping? But I'm just overjoyed. Leon Peels, Don Julian, Solitaires, Harp Tones, the 16s. Just everybody, and I'm just so blessed. I feel so blessed. Wait a minute, no, I know which one you're going to ask.
No, I'm not going to ask anything.
I got to meet Dion. We got to open up for Dion one time.
I just want to say, the thing that's really cool, because I've been in the room when it's happened. I've seen it happen.
Here we go.
And I've been privy to it. The thing that's great about Vicky is it's like these folks, when she, I'll come up to someone like Jerry Lee Lewis or something, be like, "Hey, I'm a huge fan," and he's like, signs my thing, and then "Go away, kid, you bother me" type thing. It's cool, but I'm just a fan. You know what I mean? When Vicky meets these people, I mean, she'll be sitting at a table, and Harvey Fuqua will come in and see her and Vinny sitting there, and he'll be like, hey man, this is my crew. What's happening? And he'll
And
come
me
up
and my husband are looking at each other like, what?
And that to me,
Did you hear that?
That's gonna be pretty wild.
Did somebody hear that?
I'm going to start to say things on because this is how I feel about it, and this is not necessarily something that Vicky will say herself, but I've seen it happen. The cool thing to me is these folks really regard Vicky as one of their peers.
That's great.
They don't look at her like
just a fan,
a
look
young
at her,
kid
yeah.
who's doing this, or somebody like I've seen.
Okay, I thought of one.
I've we went back and we talked to Lloyd Price and we've talked to some of these guys, and I look over and they're having conversations with Vicky and stuff like that.
Oh, Lloyd Price took a real liking to Matt.
Let me finish this thought real quick here. They talk with her on a real eye to eye peer level, and I think that that's because of her talent level. I think that that's because of the love that she has for the music, and they can see that. You know, before they were a big name on a record, they just started on the earth like anybody else. They were just a person wanting to do this.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of folks that you meet from that era are so humble and they're so fantastic. She sat down and she's had long, lengthy conversations with Herb Cox and Speedo from the Cadillacs. And these, like I said, I've seen it happen. I've been in the room, and these folks really regard her as one of their peers, and because they can see that about her. And I think that that's, for me, that's one of the great things about working with Vicky, is that she has taken that and she pays that forward.
Right.
So when she talks to folks, she's very humble, and she talks to folks, and she has a really high regard for her fans, and she wants to talk with people. Like she says, let's just have a party in the backyard. She really means that kind of stuff. And that's
should I give out the address now so people just
email it. But I just wanted to interject that, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I've really seen that happen where she has really gotten to it's not just she gets to meet these people.
When Frankie Lyman's brother came
connect
up
with
to
those
me,
people,
oh man,
and she gets to meet these people, and these people get to connect with her.
That's pretty heavy.
I was singing. We did a show.
Experience to watch.
We did a show at for Bobby B at the Doo-Wop convention in Vegas one time with Redondos, and Frankie Lyman's brother Lewis is just watching us, and I'm like, oh man, I think we're doing like ABCs of Love or something, and he's like, oh man, Frankie would be so proud, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's
another time, since we're talking about the another time we were opening up at the Hop, gosh, maybe 99 I think, or 98.
And that's also
we opened up for
Frankie Lyman.
Was it 95? 98. Anyways, we opened up for Dion, and I remember there was a lot of acoustics. That it wasn't even open yet. We got there hours early, and me and my guys were practicing in the kitchen. Dion walks in with his guitar case. Hey, you guys sound like the old school. I thought, cool. Man, what, and working with Don Julian. I mean, we used to go to Johnny's Broiler to practice. Right outside Johnny's Broiler, there's a little phone booth and there's a little bench that you could sit on. And me and Don, we just used to sit there and practice. Okay, Vicky, let's go over that part again, Or even Arthur Lee May. We used to go to Arthur Lee's house. A friend of ours, Frida. The Cadets were there. The Jacks were there.
Wow.
Just a bunch of artists were there. And Vinny, my husband, we went together.
Aiken,
Jewel Aikens was there.
Yeah.
I mean, just everybody. Those are the guys. Those are the ones. And Vinny's just sitting there, like breaking out in a sweat. I'm like, babe, are you okay? He's like, baby, that is the Cadets over there. And oh man, and you just try not to don't trip.
It's one thing to meet those people.
It's
one thing to play with those people. But to sit and have an actual connection and talk music,
that's something special that lasts a long time.
Always been fantastic. Always been fantastic.
Those guys
it's always been an
pretty
honor.
Nice too. One of
my favorite memories was there was a big doo-wop show over in Orange County at Mile Square Park, and I remember Wolfman Jack was hosting it. It was one of the last things he did back in the day.
80s.
And the Coasters, it was Johnny Maestro. It was just, we couldn't afford to go in that day. I don't know what happened. I was with a friend of mine, and we were outside the gate, and I'm like, come on, please, we got to get in there. How do we get in there? And they were sold out. Oh, wow. And it was just crazy. The Mile Square Park is huge.
Yeah.
It was all fenced off, and, and I was just bummed. So then Humble Harv is talking to Wolfman Jack, saying, is this the kid? Is this the one everybody's talking about? And I'm like, oh my Lord. Oh man. And I was just a kid back then, and And Wolfman Jack, oh, come on, let's get her in here. Come on, baby. And I was like, oh my Lord. And I just, the clouds had lifted and everything. And I got in. Me and my friend got in, and it was just insane.
Wow. Great memories, and thanks for sharing that.
We did have the American Graffiti, just the cover.
Oh, okay.
There was no record in it. I still have it. And it's signed by Wolfman Jack.
Oh,
the coasters,
cool, man.
You name it. Whoever was on that bill that day, everybody.
That's cool.
I think we got like 14 signatures that day, but it was fantastic.
And and just to wrap up.
But my best time of my life, the best time ever, besides, the live shows, my best time ever was actually doing those doo-wop shows.
Yeah.
I'd love to start it back up again. I don't know who I got to know
Yeah,
or what I
get
got
it
to
together.
do. But
Just
I
finding the
would
right
love
people.
to-
I'm sure they're out there, but yeah.
And I'm sure there's a whole new generation that wants to do. One time we did the show in Terremolinos, the Rock and Race Jamboree in Spain. There was a group called the Dreamers. Yes, I'm shouting out to the Dreamers. I'm thinking, oh man, me and Vinny had come back from, we had taken a trip, to walk around Spain.
Yeah.
We came back to the hotel where they were having the festival, and these kids, they didn't speak hardly like a broken English, but they said the Dreamers. They had blue and white Letterman jackets, and they were doing doo-wop, nothing but Beach Boys.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I had never seen anything like that. That was so
I wonder
fantastic.
if they're still around.
Yeah, and I just I was just going to kind of add at the end. I just want to say thanks to you, Matt, for having us,
Yeah,
because
it's
I
a
know
pleasure
that
having you here.
Thank you.
You're a local promoter. You have a radio show. You always have your hand in all sorts of cool things. And I just want to remind people that the scene is made up of folks who make the scene.
Oh, yeah.
And it is our duty to continue.
Yeah, we gotta keep it going.
It's not two separate entities. You make this stuff happen.
Yeah.
So I would encourage anybody who is a fan of music or wants to be a musician, go out to these shows. Like you said, support the bands, check them out, figure out what you dig and what you don't dig. But most importantly, like Vicky said, just enjoy yourself, because we have a duty.
It's not going to be around forever.
We
You
have
got
a
to
duty
enjoy
to
it.
give-
I realize sometimes it is like a costume.
Well, we have a duty to give back to it. And the thing of it is,
All the outfits.
I wanna,
it's a fashion show. I get that. And
I
the
want to say,
hairdo.
as musicians, myself, I'm thankful for folks like such as
thanks,
yourself.
man. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Because it's a thankless job,
Yeah,
dude. It
just
is.
trying to build
And-
something cool. And, I've been around long enough to
Sure.
enjoy the music, and I thought, well,
That's what
I
I'm
want to
saying.
start
And
putting
you're
on
a
some
fan
cool
of music.
stuff,
It's a
and that's
thankless
what it's all
job.
comes to. It's the fan
And
in me wanting to build something cool.
As someone who's in a band, I appreciate folks like yourself.
And I want to thank you for playing all three of our bands.
I
you know?
Yeah,
appreciate
of
all the
course,
folks that
yeah.
come out and see us play, and hopefully they'll continue to do so. But we just know that it's appreciated on this end.
Yeah.
It's not wasted on
Absolutely.
us.
And that's what keeps me going, man, is the appreciation from great bands like you
We'll have to come
guys,
back.
and then
We'll do an
the
acoustic
fans
set or
and everyone else.
something.
Yeah, we'll have you back. Let's play those doo-wop 45s and do a little
Absolutely.
acoustic in studio thing. And
I
once
love
again,
it.
everybody,
We can do
thanks
it all
for
day,
tuning
man.
in to Mad Matt's Radio Roundup here live out of Studio W every Thursday. Thanks again for Vicky Tafoya for being in studio, Matt Beld from Vicky Tafoya and the Big Beat, the Redondos, and Vicky and the Vengeance. All great bands.
Thank
Check
you,
out
man.
all their music. Support them. Look up Vicky Tafoya on Facebook. You can find me under Riverside Rockabilly on Facebook and Mad Matt's Radio Roundup on Facebook. And like I said, this episode, along with others, will be uploaded on YouTube under Mad Matt's Radio Roundup. And support live music, support live bands. Go out to the shows, support the great artists, and keep the scene alive. Keep it going, because it's all about great music. And on that note, let's get out of here with a couple more great songs that influenced this great band here. Let's play one right now by the Charmiers, A Schoolgirl in Love,
All
as we
right.
end things here. And again, thank you guys for coming in
Thank
studio.
you.
It's been a
Sure,
great
thanks
time
for
having you
having us,
here.
man.
Schoolgirl in love is not hard to find.
Oh, yeah. Schoolgirl in Love right there. Ending things today on Mad Matt's Radio Roundup. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. Always great having all you listeners out there. And thanks again to Vicky and Matt for coming in studio and doing this with me. Great time. But right now at a Studio W, it is time for the Blues Hour. So if you're into blues, stick around for that. If not, hopefully I'll hear from you next week as you tune back in next Thursday for another episode. So thanks again, everybody.